readily.
Look at us now, tip to...
Ooh, Jesus.
Shout out to Morning Kombat.
Do you want a margarita? Yes! My God!
Shout out to us, doing what we love. But it's time to bang. Oh, yeah. Get fired up. It's Monday morning, and we are here to bang. It's Morning Kombat, the best damn combat sports show that they ever put together. Maybe the best thing to happen to Monday since what? Thank you very much. Hey, Brian Campbell, one half of your hosting duo today, Monday, May 19th, 2025. That gentleman right there, fresh off the cracking open of a pink Monster energy drink.
Monster Ultra Strawberry Dreams.
Looks like this job's going to drive me to an early death. No, that can right there, Luke. That can, Will.
No, I don't think that's right. I think the chronic... It's not really the job. It's just my body failing me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, you used to have body for days. Now you're down to hours and minutes left. But hey, we're going to have a great show for you today on this side. This episode of Morning Kombat is brought to you by DraftKings. And with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Shout out to everybody watching.
How do we not have a Monster listen, I'll whore it up for just not every energy drink because they're not all created equal.
I'll whore it up for green liquid. I'll tell you that.
Well,
Wait,
I know you will.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what I was going to say was there's a few different energy drink companies that I would tolerate. How do we not have a deal with them? You know what I'm saying? I actually use this shit.
How do we not have bong deals? Let's get Nosita on that. We are, oh, wow. Hey, there you go right there. Shout out to everybody watching on the DraftKings Network, on YouTube at Morning Kombat, or wherever you find fine audio podcasts. And you can see right there our handles to follow us, the show on socials. Also, our extended YouTube channels. Did you put out a very moving, important interview in the Luke Thomas Substack this week, correct?
Yeah, but it's not on YouTube. It's on my Substack. Yeah. Well, I put out a teaser. The real one goes probably live tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, the latest.
Okay. And there's a Comedy Central coming up that the teaser video that came out yesterday has you in it.
It does, yeah. They told me they were going to let me know when it was going to air, and I never heard from them.
It's going to air real soon.
I guess
it's like a separate Daily Show special.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I guess that's soon. I guess we'll see.
A lot to come in the land of Luke Thomas. We got a third member of this fantastic team coming at you today. He's from that Long Island. His name is Luke. It's Luke Nosita of the Main Card Minute, and that's all we have to say about how he got here.
Yeah, never came from any man's... No, I guess I did, but yeah. Hey, guys.
Do you guys call your dad's balls down under?
No, but that's good. I got to use that. I like that.
One time my brother got... This is a true thing. This is true. In the world of iPads, in the world of tablets, kids don't get bored anymore. My daughter does because we don't allow her to use that at all. But kids get bored. They don't know what it's like to go on a road trip for however long, and you got to just count the rocks and shit like that. They don't know that. And I one time was like, I was so fucking bored. I was doing a 20 questions with my brother, and I was like, I got one you're never gonna guess. And he goes, "Is it Dad's pecker?"
Wow.
And it was.
How did we end up here in the backseat? All right, there we go. What a
Those
moment.
Thomas siblings.
Yes.
It was. What? He got it on the first question.
Wow. What a moment in Thomas brother history there, bonding over their dad's dong. Right on brand for the old MK. That's how we do it here. Luke, did you have a nice weekend? Did Tukey get new shoes? What's going on?
Tukey did not get new shoes, but we took her to a kid's dance party yesterday.
Nice.
And she ran into a bunch of her classmates there. You're not going to believe this. I didn't even tell you this. I'll tell you it now. I ran into not one, but two MK Donks. At the kids' dance party. Yeah.
Okay.
And they were super friendly. They were super friendly. And then she had a play date. And then the neighbor kids came over. Yeah, dude, it was a whole thing.
That's great. Yeah. My kids had their junior prom. I mean, what a time to be alive.
How did they enjoy it?
They loved it. They absolutely loved it. No one really dances at these apparently nowadays. It's just like a big Instagram picture fest.
Now, like you, did they come home covered in Taco Bell and shame?
No, nothing. It's a different time right now.
These kids don't party like
They didn't
we
grow
do.
up. They didn't grow up in a factory town like I did. Luckily,
They weren't huffing gas behind the Arby's.
No, they were not back there. But yeah, I did. What a weekend to be a dad, though. So everything's good. And then I played my son one-on-one in the driveway yesterday and pulled out another old man bank shot victory.
Did you? Did you do the Paul Pierce? Did you call game or did you call bank?
No,
I called game.
The amount of old dad shots that I'm still relying upon to hold off his inevitable takeover of my cardio and experience and skill here. But a couple of dirty dad elbows when you need them. You know what I'm saying?
Long Island Luke, another weekend of skipping out on being your boyfriend of some woman that I'm sure exists. How was that?
It was good, man. It was a good card. 7 of 11 finishes. If it was a C on paper, I think it was a B in execution.
Was there an 8th finish that night, if you know what I'm saying?
There was, but we won't talk about it.
Okay. Maybe he was a very good boyfriend.
I'm in a mood.
Also, Luke, my son Chris at his track meet on Friday ran a mile in 4:29.
Jesus.
A new PR. So
4:29?
Yeah.
He's only 9 seconds away.
He's ready for states. He's getting ready. He's getting fired up.
That is, dude. That's extremely impressive.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. Big.
What's your fastest mile?
5:56.
I think it's better. Mine's about 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's about 6.
Here we go. Sharing mile times. It's a great time. Hey, we do have combat sports to talk about. We're going to break down all things.
Let's be honest. I mean, it was UFC Nub Fest over the weekend.
UFC Apex recap. We'll look at this loaded, fun as shit welterweight division within the UFC. Also look at the future of TKO Boxing and by proxy that announced partnership with Turki Al-Sheikh. Is it on the rocks? There's a lot to talk about within that. We will also get to your DMs and maybe check out the kernels in my shit to close. Look, I hope we get a big finish right there, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for supporting that. All right. Hey, why don't we just start the show, though, and get right into it off the top with the first topic. And that, of course, is UFC Fight Night. Las Vegas. It was the Apex once again. And in the main event, a welterweight tilt as Gilbert Burns and 25-year-old wrecking ball, Michael Morales. We wondered why the odds were so wide in favor of Morales. And I know there was a great argument to talk us off into 38-year-old Gilbert Burns being that gatekeeper one more time. But we got this one wrong in a big way, Luke, because Morales positively steamrolled his established veteran opponent in less than one round. Is the takeaway here, Luke, that Morales is absolutely about to break out in this hot division and add himself to those knocking on the title picture door? Or is the story more that Burns, with his 4th straight defeat at age 38, hate to use this term, thoroughly washed? Where does the meter fall on that divide?
Well,
because I thought Burns was in this until he wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one. So we were talking about this with Long Island Luke before the show. When we get up here as old, washed pieces of crap who knows what it means to be washed, you have to understand something. When we say that these fighters who get in these tough, long fights, which Gilbert has been in a number of them, sometimes on the winning side, sometimes on the losing side, when we say that they leave a piece of themselves in the ring or the octagon, we're not kidding. I mean, we're not being literal with it, but we're obviously being in reference to the toll that it takes. To me, Burns looked in shape, and to me, Burns never fights with a lack of intentionality. He always has a sense about what he wants to do and what the terms are that have to be established in order to do it. But what it did look like to me, BC, was that his ability to withstand punishment has been pretty compromised by this point. He just didn't have the physical sturdiness that he once did.
Because he was in shape. He was getting off despite that incredible reach disadvantage of 8 inches that you can say it, but when you see it on the screen, it's another
absurd.
thing.
It's absurd. It's a piston jab,
I thought he was looking good, but those looping punches around the guard effed him up.
Yeah, I mean, the jab brings your hands up like this, and then he would loop over. Remember, he hit him with that uppercut, too.
Yes.
And he hit him from so far away. I think a lot of that stunned Gilbert. And Gilbert was, I think, not in terms of his preparation in the gym, unready for it, but his body can simply no longer tolerate this kind of a thing. Whereas I think before, maybe he would have lost anyway, BC, but it would have taken probably a lot longer. And
I mean,
who knows
a year ago, he had the current champion, Jack Della Maddalena, on the verge of losing with like 2 minutes to go.
So this is my point. Like, I don't think there's any way to have this conversation about the fight and not acknowledge that Gilbert, understandably, is simply not what he once was. And we have a high degree of respect for Gilbert Burns. And for a guy who's very honest about his state, I suspect that he will have some admission that this is the thing for him as well. On the other side, BC, on the Michael Morales side, I mean, let's
Wake
talk
up,
about.
wake up.
Okay, so I have good things to say, but I also think we need to keep something in mind.
Okay.
He is gigantic for welterweight, and he's just 25. Here's my view: he's not going to live at this weight class for too much longer.
I mean, dude, he looked massive. Can we see the tweet here to exfoliate that?
Yeah,
Luke?
I mean, this was 12. If you take off the lower third, 12 hours after the fight, he was basically 200. Can you imagine what he would have been 24 hours or after the weigh-in? Excuse me, what he would have been. He is enormous for the weight class. He's 25 years old. By the time he's 30, I suspect he will not be in this weight class.
Is this a Rumble Johnson situation or no?
Well, Rumble Johnson missed a bunch of times, and I don't know that he's quite on that level.
Then
but
there was the credit card thing, but we don't bring that up a lot.
Okay, putting that aside.
Yes.
Putting that aside.
Finally.
So to answer the question, like, what is his future at welterweight? For the time being, the sky's the limit. But I do think that you cannot keep doing what he's doing as you age and maintain your competitiveness. But as it stands for the next year, 2, or maybe even 3, BC, he's got a dynamite jab. He is obviously a physical beast.
He's a predator.
He's a predator. He's got a good combination of jab and then hook, which he uses to set it all up, which I just referenced. His takedown defense, which we said going in, was 93%, looked dynamite in this fight. And Gilbert putting him through his paces a little bit, testing it, didn't matter, still got up right away.
We took an L. We missed that you predicted him to win, but we missed that it was going to be run right through him.
Well, because the one thing I do want to say, though, is, like, part of the story is Burns' decline.
Sure.
Part of the story is Morales is huge for this weight class, which I don't think is sustainable over the long term. And part of it is his ability that is quite good. But the other part is the thing that we did pick up on. Dude, his technique is still pretty raw. Like, he makes a lot of positional mistakes. He takes a lot of risks because I think he feels that these guys can't hurt him. It doesn't really matter. Eventually, he's going to land and score it. So, to me, he's still raw as a prospect. He's a raw beast, but pretty
He's
green
also
still.
18-0, coming off first-round knockouts of Neil Magny and Gilbert Burns, and that doesn't happen typically. So, Luke, separate from how many fights does he have left at welterweight and he won't be here for long, which I can understand saying that. Separate from that, what he would have needed coming into Saturday's card to make enough noise in this division to insert himself into an already overflowing and crowded conversation atop of this, a conversation that we are now injecting the best fighter in the world, Islam Makhachev, into, he would have needed what? Exactly this, in this kind of efficiency to enter this. So separate from how long he'll be here, while he's here, even with the flaws, when you have an 8-inch reach advantage over someone like that, and he's going to have an advantage like that against a lot of opponents, we're going to get into this division at large in a couple topics from now and pinpoint where everybody belongs in our mind. But he's got to be added to the title discussion now, does he not?
He does, but he reminds me of Francis. I mean, he's better than this, but it reminds me of Francis Ngannou before the first Stipe fight, where he was, again, it's not quite the same thing.
He just delivered the knockout of the year against Overeem like a month and a half earlier.
Right. But what I mean is you watch him in that Stipe fight, and he's ringing Stipe's bell, and he's dangerous, but he also gets overwhelmed. Now, part of that was the wrestling, too, but he gets overwhelmed and wasn't technically there, and I think it kind of cost him in the end. I'm not saying he's as far back as that. I think Francis was really far behind. It's a loose comparison. But to me, there's just a lot of work left to be done. And again, I want to say it. He's 25. Of all the hot young guns at 170, he is the youngest. He's got the most amount of time to get better. But, like, if you look at the polish in someone's game of who's maybe the oldest of the young guns, Sean Brady at 32, his ground game is super refined.
Sure.
Super refined. And I would say JDM's stand-up pretty damn refined as well. To me, Morales has some of that. Again, the takedown defense, lights out, very good. But he gets by a lot on his physical abilities, which I don't think is the end of the world. This is what how many times, I sound like a broken record on this goddamn show. We got to slow roll him a little bit here. And I know he just beat Burns, but I don't want to jump him right to the front of the division. Maybe give him 1 or 2 more good ones before we really launch him up.
Dude,
there.
I did not think we were getting this. I want to overreact. I want to throw myself into the hyperbole zone now with this. Long Island Luke, can you bring some level of clear-headed sanity to this? Did this scream future title contender? We need to take this guy seriously. Or are there levels to this? And as he climbs to that elite level, it's not going to be this easy.
I just feel like I didn't learn enough about either guy in this fight. Truth be told, I don't know if Gilbert's done yet. I don't know if he still has some left in the tank. I don't know if Michael Morales is a fucking killer or just caught an older Gilbert. Michael Morales versus Leon Edwards, though. I like that fight a
Hell
lot.
yeah.
So many good matchups to make in this division. Michael Morales sat down after this fantastic breakthrough victory. He had a different name in mind, and it's a name he's been talking about for a while. Let's hear from Mike.
Who makes sense for you next, and what are the names that you want to call out that you'd like to be in there in the octagon with?
I
talked about Ian Gary. That's the fighter that I always wanted to fight. But I know that he's won his last fight, so he's looking up in the rankings right there. So that might not happen. But I said, the fight that I would really like to make, and the biggest thing is just being healthy and just kind of recovering from a couple of strikes that I had. And I took to be in Guadalajara. I think that if they're able to make it, I would like to fight whoever, in Guadalajara. But I think that at this point, taking advantage of opportunities and being grateful for opportunities to fight maybe the 6th, the 5th, the 4th in the ranking. And we'll take any opportunity that God gives us to do.
Look, he's both a killer and an extreme mama's boy, not hiding it one bit. He has a cool look. Dude, I wanna awaken to what he can bring to the table because this is fun. He's young. He gets after it. He's a problem. He's a problem. Of course, like you're saying, you got to see that leveraged against a lights out wrestler. You got to see that leveraged against somebody like Ian Gary who has that defense to be able to kind of shut you down. I want to find out those answers quicker on him than I do some of the other guys in this division, though, because sometimes it's fun to have somebody that breaks the rules, that may still have holes in their games, that may not be completely well-rounded, but they come in through there with that excitement. And he has that spark that is refreshing in this division at the moment.
It is refreshing. I know it's going to kind of get lost a little bit. It's not the biggest story. It's not even the top 10 biggest stories, but I do want to say something else. It's nice to see South American prospects who are doing good work outside of Brazil. And what I mean to say is, like, you can kind of count on Brazil to just constantly pump talent into the pipeline, basically from flyweight to heavyweight, and in the women's divisions as well. They're good for it. But the Spanish-speaking part of South America has has severely lagged behind. Now in North America, Mexico on a Spanish-speaking side is now pumping a bunch of prospects in. But anyway,
shout out to Argentina with Eileen Perez. Right?
Argentina's had a few along the way. Argentina's kind of like pulling up the rear a little bit, but the point I want to make is, like, here comes a guy, and Chito before him obviously was doing this as well. It's just great to see the talent begin to disperse through vast parts of the globe, and that's something we shouldn't lose sight of. But I still believe he's got a ton of talent, but it's a problem in MMA when you can be so physically imposing that you can jump further than what your talent level actually suggests you belong. But then the matchmakers are like, well, he keeps winning, so we're just going to keep bumping him up. I don't know what it's going to mean long term. And again, I do think he's going to end up at middleweight. I just don't think he can maintain this. But for right now, he's a fucking handful.
Topic number 3, we're going to break down this division at length and rate the fighters and kind of matchmake for the future. But let's play one matchmaking game now with Morales. What is the right next fight for him?
The Leon one I like. Let me pull up the rankings if I can here, because the other names, the young guns that he's measured against, I don't know if I like any of those fights. I don't. Let me back up. All of them would be fun, and he might even win some, but I don't know if they're the right fights to make. So to answer the question a little bit more nimbly, man, see, this is what a problem. He's already there. You could do Buckley. Excuse me. You could do Buckley. You could do Covington. You want to do Covington?
No, I don't.
Why not Covington?
Covington's on the way out for me. I mean, I know this would at least be utilizing what he has left brand-wise to the best of your powers to at least
Morales
try to put over
him
a
up.
younger fighter, but
it feels too similar to the Gilbert win, Colby.
But look at Buckley's been doing. They're doing the old man tour, right? Just after the Ruza Boy fight, he's just been fighting unks out there. Go into the.
Now he's getting Kamaru when he's still ranked in the top 5.
Buckley has been going to various family gatherings around the country and just beating up everyone's unks. And look what it's done for his career. Look what it's done for his development. It's done fantastic things. Why can't we do that for Michael Morales?
He could be the legend killer. I'm not necessarily against that. I just don't want I'm so sick of Colby, dude. I'm just so freaking sick.
All the more reason for this 25-year-old to go in there and just dent up his dome.
Well, I think you can say the same thing about Burns' future and what is there a get well fight with Burns coming off of 4 losses. Colby might be that. I'd almost rather use Colby for that, but I guess either way, you're just using Colby to give somebody else a potential run. Let's forget using Colby against him. Let's hear from Gilbert Burns. He did put out a post-fight message. This was on social media on the IG. Thankful for this journey, ! I'm still super blessed. Of course, wasn't the outcome I was looking forward to, especially for this one. I work extremely hard. Who saw, but it's the fight game and it's life. Congrats to my opponent there. Wishing you and your team all the success. That's it. No sad stories. Grateful for this beautiful journey and for all the lessons. God is good all the time. All honors, praise, and glory give to him in win or defeat. Luke, he's coming back. He said, let's take some time off and let's come back. 4 straight defeats, all against elite opponents, or in this case, someone who's looking like a killer on the rise up. Competition-wise, he's still there. We broke down the previous 3 defeats before this and how much he was very much still there in each of those fights to a certain degree.
Yeah, but close only
coming
counts
up. I know,
horseshoes.
but like he's not getting flatlined. I know obviously he did get KO'd kind of brutally by JDM there, and that was a fight that turned away from him late. But he's no longer chasing a title, but there's still a place for him if he wants it.
What you're observing is that Gilbert is so technically proficient and such a studious preparer that he really never goes into any of these fights outgunned in that particular sense. But to me, the common denominator through all these losses is these younger guys have a level of, in certain cases, craftiness or brute force that is proving to be too much of a match, no matter Gilbert's smarts and technical proficiency and no matter the level of preparation that I'm sure he puts in. There's really no question in my mind that he does that. Again, at some point, dude, your body just begins to fail you. Dude, fighting at 38 years old at 170 pounds is tough.
That is tough.
Tough. That's a tough thing to do. And you got a 25-year-old with an 8 or 9 inch reach advantage, with a jab that hurts and stings and rocks your shit. It's a tough fucking business, man. It's tough.
He's got too much left for his own good, because it'd be hard to tell.
All the more reason to walk. I'm not saying he has to walk now. So,
no GFL coming through that door.
I mean, I don't think GFL is coming through any door other than the bankruptcy one. But if Gilbert wanted to fight Colby, right, we could do that. We could do that fight. I think that fight would be potentially something worthwhile that maybe fans could get behind. And I think I would favor Gilbert to win that one. But before on last week, we were noting that Gilbert's proficiency might give a guy like Morales a little bit of trouble. But then when you see that the physical deterioration just makes that hard to deal with, that's when I think you don't have to look for the exit right this instant, but it is the cue to begin to look for the exit.
All right, it was back to Morales quick to close this out. There was potential for us to be able to see him truly challenge, pushed it past the 3rd round for the first time as a pro. Maybe if he's down on the fight cards, having to rally back. We didn't get that because he was so proficient in getting him out of there kind of savagely. So, Luke, if you could have one question answered on what we don't know about Michael Morales moving forward or in his next fight, what's the key question that you would need to know to say, yeah, one day this guy could fight for a welterweight title?
What does he do if somebody fully neutralizes his jab? Now, understand something. He does something that I absolutely love, and you hear me complain about it all the time. How many times have I been on this show and said I'm so tired of seeing young fighters not develop behind the jab? Especially with a guy with the dimensions that he has. He's doing it exactly right. But you're probably going to go up against somebody who's going to have some kind of an answer for that. Either A, they're going to be able to get the takedown or the back, or B, they're going to find some kind of way, maybe from open stance, to neutralize it. And what is your second order game going to look like? We don't know what the answer to that is. And I don't think his jab, as good as it is so imposing that nobody in that line is going to be able to figure out what to do about it.
I think Ian Gary would figure it out.
Ian Gary's going to be a tough fight. Fast feet, fast hands, touch and go. At the same time, though, like that beast lands on you and bad shit happens very quickly. It's a fun fight, 25 versus 27. It's just I feel like there should be other guys that give him to let him work through some of this stuff.
Yeah. We're going to hit a lot more on this undercard as well as that welterweight division. We also got some big news we got to jump in with related to Jon Jones. But before we get there, I wanted to say, hey, this podcast is sponsored by Total Wireless, the official wireless partner of the UFC. So when you are streaming the fight or sharing those takedown highlights with your friends, right? You need a wireless provider that'll keep you close to the action. With Total Wireless, you're covered by the Verizon 5G network, so you don't have to worry about your connection being knocked out at its biggest moments. It's not something you can usually say about a wireless provider. But Total Wireless has your back. That's the deal. They are in your corner every second of the day so that you never miss a thing. They keep you covered for just $25 a month with 4 lines without sacrificing the essentials like speed. So with Total, you get unlimited 5G data so you can stay ahead of the action and keep up with every knockout. Ain't that right, LT?
Yeah, it is. I don't have this.
Well, I can tell you, Luke.
Okay.
Total Wireless also understands.
Oh, yes, I have it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Yes. I apologize. I was trying to dig it up. Total Wireless also understands, BC, you can't afford surprise blows any more than your favorite fighter can. That's why the price is guaranteed. Ready for this? For 5 years, taxes and fees included. The best fighters, they don't make it to the octagon alone. They have all-in support along the way, and it shouldn't be any different for you. So visit TotalWireless.com and you can visit, your Total Wireless local store to learn more about how Total Wireless can be in your corner. 5G access requires a 5G capable device in a 5G service area. Monthly rate in the Total Base 5G Unlimited plan for new subscribers applies only to the monthly rate for your plan. Additional terms apply. See website for details. Apologies for that.
Well said. No problem, Luke. And now's a good time to also remember where tequila's story truly began. What am I talking about? I'm talking about 1795 when Cuervo invented tequila. Since then, Cuervo has stayed true to its roots. The same family, the same land. You better believe that same passion, right? Yeah, 230 years later, Cuervo is still there in every pour, in every margarita, even 3 of them, and in every celebration. So enjoy the tequila that started it all, Cuervo. The tequila that invented tequila. ProximoCuervo.com. Please drink responsibly. And Luke Thomas, we love partnering with Cuervo for pregame preview.
Yeah, we do.
Ahead of each UFC pay-per-view, and with 316, the Stone Cold Steve Austin pay-per-view. That's
Hell yeah, brother.
June 7th, Newark. That fight week, we're going to be in the studio that Wednesday, right? Right? We have the date on that?
The 4th, June 4th.
So that is June 4th, 2025. Wednesday, 11 a.m. in the studio. Cuervo is bringing us UFC 316 pregame preview. LTBC and
Aaron Bronstetter.
let's go. Let's go. Abron time. All right.
Now,
So let's
will this
get
be the
after it.
first time that he's ever had alcohol in his life?
Wow, this will be a big episode. Okay.
Are we allowed to haze and insult him?
I'm going to bring up when he mentioned on our show that time that he was like a noted high school athlete. We got to get
a hoop in here
We gotta
and then
get
take
Pablo
turns dunking on him.
Yes,
quite
we
literally.
need Pablo Torre to find out about whether AB's telling the truth on that. Okay, but we love that guy. Shout out to AB.
Pablo Torre might end up getting Bill Belichick fired. Have you seen this story?
This would be a great, it would be a great plot twist if he ends up like getting Bill fired and then he gets the girl too on top of that.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah, that's like, but I think he's married though. But shout out to Pablo Torre. I'm sitting in his seat. You know what I mean?
You are.
He gets after it. He gets down to the truth.
He certainly does.
All right, there we go. Before
Please
we get
fart
to
in that chair.
topic 2, let's do topic 1AA here. Jon Jones is in Thailand, and when he's not on the back of the motorcycle of a random man as he runs his fingers through that gentleman's curly, sweaty hair.
I thought he was holding it like a horse's,
I don't know.
stirrups or whatever.
I don't know. He's also enjoying a lot of coconuts and having a grand old time. Overnight, he went on a Twitter rampage, it seems, responding to fans. And the 2 tweets that seem to say the most about why he hasn't fought Tom Aspinall yet and why he hasn't been stripped appear to be the bottom one first, a fan saying, enjoying your last days as a champ before being stripped, I see, John. And Boney, a.k.a. Johnny Meat, says, y'all stripped, LOL. Do I come across as the type of person who cares about things like that? Jones would go on to tweet, y'all barking up the wrong tree. I told the UFC my plans a long time ago. I have no clue why they haven't shared them with you guys yet.
Yeah, you know
So,
what? Fair
Luke,
enough.
In some ways, this is much to do about nothing. John's like trolling everybody and living his best life. But there seems to be some levels of truth within that. What do you take away from this tweeting sphere that he went on?
Well, partly all these antagonistic videos he's intentionally putting out where he's like, sort of sipping coconut water and being like, guys, I'm over here and I'm unbothered by your concerns, right? So it's all part of a kind of a public facade. So that's part of it. But just putting that away, I actually feel like he makes a decent point here, which is I told the UFC my plans. And when I say decent point, follow me. But he says, I told the UFC my plans. They haven't shared them with you. But he's saying he's unconcerned with being stripped. So obviously what he said is either pay me, or not that he's telling them to strip him, but he's saying he's unconcerned with it. The ball is in the UFC's court. Either pay him such that he gets off of his rear end and stops eating, exotic fruits over in Thailand or whatever, or just take the belt from him. In other words, he is making his demands clear. Whose inaction are we waiting on? We're making it seem like we're waiting on Jon's inaction.
But he probably already set his price a while ago.
Which, by the way, we could be.
Yes.
But if he's actually, if what he's saying in this is the truth, which is he has declared to them what the lines are that have to be met, then the ball is actually in the UFC's court in that case.
Just running like 4 to 6 months behind how they normally book, because like we saw the main event of 317 come together in late, right? Like 40 something days away from IFW, and dependent upon another pay-per-view main event's result in a lot of ways to dictate who's fighting. I talked about how UFC 300, they were kind of like late to the ball and had to call Poatan the last minute. They've had to do that a lot lately. Like, have they just not gotten to it in their priority list to seal up Jones Aspinall? Are they holding it for the next TV deal? Like,
no.
Or
let me ask,
is this a pissing contest between Hunter Campbell and Jon about whittling down to that number?
For sure. Let me ask a question. Long Island Luke, weigh in here if you can. Here's my question. How bad would it be for not just the fans, of course we would all suffer, but how bad would it be for the sport, and in particular the UFC brand, if they fail to deliver on making the Jon versus Tom fight? And I know what you're going to say. Jon's going to shoulder a fair amount of that blame. You're right. I'm not asking about that equation. I'm asking, if you just go back, there's no GSP versus Silva. There was no Fedor versus Brock. There's no Randy versus Fedor. There's a bunch of super fights that have all fallen to the wayside. Now you would, in that particular scenario, which I'm positing, you would add that to the equation. What kind of damage would that do?
Fuck, man, I don't know. And you left out Jones and Ngannou, too, which is another super fight we should have got. Yeah. I don't know. It would be bad if they can't make this. But also, like I was saying to BC, the rumor has been MSG. They wouldn't have announced that by now anyway.
I mean, they can get a killer gate at MSG. I personally think it's not different from what I said a couple days ago. UFC knows they're targeting it on MSG. They're just going to wait Jon out. Somebody's gonna be the one that bends first. Jon is, to his credit, if this is just a pissing contest, using his leverage, putting out publicly that he doesn't care, constantly acting like, I don't care, or I don't need to fight this guy.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a last minute, what's the closest we can get that number down?
Right. So we're already announcing fights, technically, main events anyway, for August, right? Because we announced, and to an extent, there are reports now that Volk is probably going to end up fighting Diego Lopez. No, sorry, what am I saying? Yair Rodriguez for in a rematch for UFC 320. So we're basically almost at September. So we probably have at least 2 more months of this before we can even get to a conversation about what's actually going to happen in November.
Now, I'm telling you, they dodged a bullet by not putting Aspinall gone at 317. I think that would have been one of those turning point moments where a whole bunch of fans would be like, fuck this.
I don't know what the answer is, the question that I asked Long Island Luke, but I do think it's worth thinking about what kind of long-term reputational stain would follow UFC if they're unable to make this fight. And again, I want to be clear one more time. Even if Jon, and I don't think that this would be sensical or that they should do it, but I just want to be clear, even if Jon was asking for $100 million, they could easily afford that. Make no mistake about it. Whatever number he's asking for, A, he's earned it, and B, they could pay it. So to me, there's a lot of blame to go around here. I'm going to remain cautiously optimistic that this is all posturing.
Well, because the posturing has taken so long, though, everybody looks bad. We're just sort of like, let's go.
Yeah, but if they come through, everyone's going to be like so freaking pumped. You
only held up the division, Aspinall's career, for another additional year. I mean, what are we doing here?
But they are going to pull the trigger by November. I think that there's no way they delay past that.
The last year and a half of combat sports, I know we got big fights as a result of Turkey being in our lives, but the BS that comes with Turkey and TKO's monopolizational ways, it's really, I know it's aimed at sucking every dollar out of the sport for them, but it's slowly sucking out all the fun, right? You know what I mean? Like, This is all we talk about because this is all that's going on, and it dictates what we talk about.
Is this better or worse than guys popping positive for steroids and or crimes and or... I don't know.
If the fights are good, people don't care what else is going on.
That's true. That's right. Yeah, you know what? So fucking true.
But
so true.
yeah, this is crazy. All right, let's get back into topic number 2, which is what else we learned from Saturday's UFC Apex card. It's the reality. It's where we're at. This was not an overly deep card, and we lost the co-main event due to herpes.
Matt herpes.
Not herpes.
No, I was just saying like it was a bad way to lose the fight.
Yeah. Dude, so who has herpes?
Bellato, allegedly.
And so Paul Craig will live another day.
Herpes free. Or maybe not.
Or maybe.
I mean, maybe not.
Okay.
He might have been like, guys, been there, done that.
Luke, as far as the rest of the show, Mairon Santos had a very interesting fight against Sodiq Yusuff. Yusuff coming off of that defeat, but it was Santos' striking that ultimately held him off 30-27 on all 3 scorecards.
Bad showing for Sodiq Yusuff, who, by the way, has now had a rough run of it. Obviously, things went poorly in his last fight, which I think was UFC 300 against Diego Lopez, and he got bombed on there.
Two of 3 scorecards. The other one was 29-28.
Yusuff trying to wrestle to mix it up and got nowhere with it. Santos showing great takedown defense. Again, relative to the attack of Sodiq Yusuff, who's not known as a wrestler by any stretch. Bad fight. This is a tough moment for Sodiq Yusuff because he's just 31. He's still in his physical prime. He looked to be in tremendous physical condition, and I take Sodiq as a very smart guy. I hope he takes his time to reflect that, like, his development is causing him some issues.
3 straight losses is no joke.
Against not against chumps.
No, against Edson Barbosa, Diego Lopez, and now Mairon Santos.
Yeah, but like he should be better than this.
You agree with Bisping saying Santos looks a little Spider Silva-esque in the delivery of his striking?
I won't say that, but I think what I will say, and I was talking about this with Bong Island over there before the show, he does have a certain natural aptitude. You can see certain guys get good at striking through rehearsal, and then certain guys have a natural aptitude for it. Santos appears to me to have a natural aptitude for it, and that is noticeable. I don't think that puts him in the conversation with similarities even to necessarily Anderson Silva, but I do recognize he's got some ability for sure. But for Yusuff, there's a real come to Jesus moment. This is a tough one. This is one of those ones where you have to reflect on, like, okay, if you don't have to be like drastic necessarily, but if you don't diagnose what has gone wrong at this point, then you could derail everything from here. So an important moment to get it right.
Yeah, we had a potential action banger to open up now what was a 4-fight main card in the featherweight division there, with Melky Costa fighting for the 3rd time in 85 days against Julian Juicy J. Erosa. It would go, by the way, of 29-28 on all 3 scorecards for Melky Costa. It was a fun action fight there, Luke Thomas. Are we like picking up vibes now that Melky Costa is here? The fast schedule, the involvement of his game, he's starting to show a different turn. He's pointing toward the top of the division, Luke.
Yeah, the evolution.
I mean, he looks like he's got like Elvis sideburns mixed with like 2 different kinds of color hair. He almost looks like a movie villain, like he should be in like Batman Returns again.
I hadn't thought of it in those terms. I will say this: he's gotten way better. You watch his early fights, even in the UFC, I'm not going to say indistinguishable, but he's cleaned up so many of the problems. Dude, I thought it was pretty impressive the way in which he was able to pick his shots. The head kick he landed on Erosa in the first round. But let me ask a question. Did either of you seem to think that Erosa looked off a little bit? Even before the head kick.
He hung in there and countered a lot, but he
got a little bit better by the 3rd. But Long Island Luke, did you not seem to think it looked like he was moving underwater to me?
I didn't think he looked off. I think he just was getting hit clean, and like he was buckling with a lot of these shots, dude. But you're right. Round 3, he put it on him. I was actually nervous when they read the scorecards. I had a bet on Melky that I was like, shit, dude, did Julian pull this out? Because round 2 was close too. But yeah, Melky got it done.
Yeah, he did.
4 straight wins for Melky, improving to 5-2 in the promotion. So,
yeah, like he's turned it around big time.
I mean, he loves to paint his face at the weigh-ins. Like he's got like a fun vibe to him.
For sure.
But that striking was crisp this time around.
I thought the shot selection was great in this fight. Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly sure how far he can go with it, but whatever he was going to be, he's absolutely leveled up far past that.
35-year-old Jared Gordon would go in there against Thiago Moises and deliver him via one perfect counter right hand at the tail end or in the second half of that first round. 35 years old, but this felt like a breakthrough win for him. And then he's afterwards shouting out mental health recovery for fighters and trying to, partner with the right people to create lifeline opportunities. All in all, big weekend for Jared Gordon.
Jared Gordon is a good fighter. I mean, he's had some tough luck along the way. There's a few fights you can go back to where you could say he got robbed, or the judges the Paddy Pimblett fight. That
could have been a breakthrough moment in his career. And he's 36, sorry, not 35.
And to beat a guy like Thiago Moises, who is limited but good, and to do it so thoroughly and with a brilliantly timed kind of counterpunch over the top, dude, Jared Gordon, again, the clock is working against him here a little bit, and sometimes the judges are too. But he's clearly not an easy out for anybody. I'm very impressed with how he has managed to turn himself into somebody quite formidable.
Yeah, the fight before he had dropped a split decision to Nasrat Haqparas, so that's a close fight. Then he had stopped Mark Madsen before that. You had the no contest against Bobby Green, and then the fight against Paddy Pimblett that probably should have gone his way. So he could be on a much bigger run right here. But at 36, it was good to see him come around with that, getting Moises out of there. What else on this card jumped out at you? I have not heard you say the name Nursultan Ruzaboyev yet.
No, not that one. Hold on, I have my notes here, and now I cannot find them because today is.
I mean, there was a lot of talk about Luana Santos coming
back.
I'll
give a shout out to Gabe Green. He had a great come from behind submission win. He was definitely losing the first 7 minutes of that fight. Got the
face crank there.
His face crank, yeah.
Yeah, in that second round against Mateus Camillo. Luke, a lot of people love Luana Santos at bantamweight, where we don't talk nice about anybody. What do you think about that?
I know
key
your
lock?
ass does.
What do you think about that key lock, Luke?
So the key lock,
I believe they said first key lock in women's UFC history.
Yeah, the key lock is not something any UFC fighter should ever submit to.
You're talking about some white belt shit right here? Is that what you're saying?
It is. It is. Yeah. You should never ever be in a position where you have to tap to something.
Have you
like
rolled
that.
with Ryan Hall?
I have.
And your wife has rolled with Roxanne Modafferi. You guys,
Ryan Hall snatched me up. That was bad. That was a bad roll for me.
Did you catch Matt herpes?
No, I did catch an L though.
Okay.
It was terrible. I got twisted. He actually twisted me. It was terrible.
Damn.
Dude, you should not be losing. Dude, key locks are things you see at heavyweight and then among nubber ass fighters typically. Now it worked here, so good for her. It's not a thing that I think you can really hang your hat on as super impressive. I'm sorry.
Okay, Elise Reed's punch defense was not super impressive, but Denise Gomes there at strawweight put her away.
No, the Korean kid, Hyung Sung Park.
Yes.
Dude,
yes.
He's good.
He's good.
We talked about him on Friday. I shouted him out on Friday's show. He won Road to UFC in the flyweight division. Dude, his ground game is good. It's balanced. He was able to find the back very easily. He got the rear naked choke perfectly. He's good. A lot of these Korean guys that they are signing are a lot of they're dudes who will bang it out with you with mid-carders. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
But there's this kid to me looks like he's got some real potential. I like what I saw from Hyung Sung Park. Detail oriented in his game. That's what I want to see. A promising future. Let's say that.
Yeah. Long
future.
Island Luke. Anyone else you want to shout out? Luke sold my Denise Gomes finish there in the second round like it didn't happen. You know what I mean?
Dude, well, Gaff had Denise Gomes round 2 KO plus 1,000. He cashed that, so I got to give him a shout out for that. That guy, Yadir Doval, he got the sub. He looked good.
Over Connor Matthews, featherweight.
I think that was his first ever career sub, too. Yeah, Gabe Green. Yeah, it was a good card,
it was an okay.
It was a good card. Is that what it was?
Really?
It was a good card.
In execution, it was a fun card. It was a fun watch.
Okay, but
damn, this motherfucker will call anything good.
That's true. But I got 3 words to say about the Apex in general and Saturday's card. Too much Bisping. Somebody's got to say it, okay? Somebody's got to say it.
He is chatty. I will say this, though, about the Apex. The UFC's been trying to undergo some renovations. A few renovations, a few changes to the way it goes, it's going to feel different. I do believe that.
If you have a 3,000 to 5,000 and they're real fans.
Not even 2.
And they're real fans.
Yes.
And they're on top of the action.
Yes, make it. Dude, let me just say this. For the UFC, you guys are already charged, and everyone's doing it. It's not just UFC. I have to take my wife and daughter to go see Shakira later this month. And we're in the 400s.
You're not going to be able to see her hips from there.
I told my wife, we have to go get fucking binoculars to go watch this goddamn show.
And you will enjoy watching that through binoculars.
And dude, the tickets were all together for the 3 of us, plus taxes, over $700.
Not worth. Sorry, Luke, to you and your family, not worth it.
I told my wife this. I'm like, what the fuck is the point? But she made a promise to my daughter, whatever. and we never go to concerts this expensive. I always go for free or for cheap ass things.
Wait, when is Tuki's first Cannibal Corpse concert?
Not yet. Although she was in utero when I took my wife to see Dying Fetus in New York.
Not acceptable.
My wife was pregnant. The point I wanted to make was, here's a chance. This is the thing that's driving me fucking crazy about the PFL.
Yeah.
The PFL has an opportunity at a moment where TKO is just pulling all the fun out of the sport to be like a fan-first organization. Dude, if the UFC, you don't need to make a bunch of money on these Apex shows. You're already like, it doesn't matter. Charge prices that any real fan can afford.
Dude, they would prefer to do what they do now, and I know that they are expanding, but right now, what do they charge? They charge experiences. They charge you a couple $1,000 to sit.
Okay,
with like
but but that's right now as it stands. If they're gonna put some capacity in there, if they would make the tickets, I don't know, $50, $75.
Don't do that though. They're in value extraction mode? Because they've got all that debt they got to pay back. Because they're trying to take over combat sports and own everything.
Okay, well, it seems to me like they already don't make money on that. You could still make money on that by charging that.
It would build more fan interaction.
100%.
And feeling like, okay, maybe I can't afford a numbered card, in a big arena because of these government contracts and them raising the prices, but maybe I can go to where the real fans go, the Apex. That would be great if they build that.
Would be amazing. To be able to go see UFC fights for $75, that'd be great.
We also have a shot of Melky Costa's toes, Luke. He had that foot in it. Wow, why are we showing this? This is gross and okay. That's
yeah.
You into this, Luke? You like that?
It's biology.
You say that the same about female fighters showing feet on OnlyFans? It is biology.
That's titillation. That's a little different.
Let's slide into topic number 3, and it is the UFC's welterweight division at large. Now that we can insert Michael Morales' name to the stuffed, overcrowded bottleneck of fun, violence. Is it historically deep? I don't know. It's deep as shit. It's the best division to watch right now. Look, I thought middleweight was the best division to watch last year, bantamweight the year before, lightweight the year before that. It goes in waves.
Do you know how
sometimes.
fucking insane you have to be like middleweight is the best division to watch?
Last year at the top end, not knowing who was going to come out of there as champion, whether it was a reborn Whitaker or Adesanya or Hamzat or DDP or it was wide, or Bo Nickel, or it was wide open at the top. It felt like it could be a soap opera.
Yeah, no, it's a terrible call.
Okay, well, this division is deep and exciting, Luke. Positively on fire. So let's do an exercise, to put this in perspective. We are going to rank names in the following way. Who do you think is the actual best welterweight? Ignore the records. It's not by what they accomplish. It's almost a pound for pound way to look at it in terms of ability. Where do we stand? When it's all said and done, who will be proven to be the best? Luke, the names that the top 7 here that you have for this exercise rank include Islam Makhachev, who we believe will be fighting for the title in his debut there, Jack Della Maddalena, the champion, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Sean Brady, Ian Gary, Joaquin Buckley, Michael Morales. I think the only, superstar major names we're missing is Leon Edwards and Bilal Muhammad, the 2 former champions that might be going in the other direction. But these are the 7 that are firmly within the grasp here of this title. How would you rank them on ability? Remember we did this exercise before a round of big fights, and I had Ian Gary at number 2, and the people were killing me. The people were killing me, Luke.
Yeah, with good reason. Just to say a couple things here. In order to do this exercise, it requires that we speculate. We are not doing this based off of what they've done. We're making a presumption. Let's say if we could fast forward in 5 years, what will we be able to say about this current crop, the 7 names that we mentioned? How good will they all end up turning out to be if you had to rank them in that particular sense? So I'm looking at it like how talented I think they are and how far I think they will go. I am required to speculate based on the way we're doing this, okay?
But that's the point of it. So there's
no. I'm telling the audience.
Needed.
I'm telling the audience because I don't want anyone looking at their resumes and being like, "Oh, your rankings don't make sense." Yes, based on their current resumes, it might not. It's a function of how I perceive how it will go.
Right.
In the
because
future.
as Luke often says, nobody knows who's going to win the fights.
They don't. People can say whatever the fuck they want. They don't.
Science has proven that.
All right. Put up my top 7 here, and
Unless
this is
you
how
go
I've
team
got
vibes.
it. All right. Here we go. So again, this is my power rankings, however you want to call it, right? Number 1, I've got Shavkat Rakhmonov. I still think he hasn't rightfully ascended to the throne. I think he will. I'm going to put Islam at number 2. Now, I got to tell you, between Islam and Jack, I had a really hard time with this one. I could easily see a case, BC, where you could have Jack number 1 or number 2. Okay, I struggled with this part of it, but I do think Islam is generationally good, and Jack I think is very talented, who might end up beating him.
Okay,
but I just don't know. So I'm gonna kind of go with my gut a little bit and say I think Islam's gonna do really well up there, but we'll see. At number 4, I think Sean Brady. Sean Brady's not done getting some big wins, but I do think the lack of the striking game as a dual threat, because we all agree his ground game lights out. In fact, I'm going to argue Islam has a better way to marry the two between striking and grappling. But pure ground game, I'm going to give it to Sean Brady.
The big quibble I have already is this 4-5 pairing.
Okay, hold
right
on. That's fine. Let me get through it. So Sean Brady, I think, has the best pure ground game, but I think it's a little lopsided relative to some of the other ones. Gary's sitting at 5. To me, the lack of Gary's finishing mechanics and finishing ability more generally, I think, is going to really hurt him long term. Buckley, I think I could even see higher. I could see him at 5 and Gary at 6. And Morales, I put at 7. And the reason why is because I just don't think he's going to be in this division for that much longer, relatively speaking. That's my top 7.
But that's built heavy on speculation. We got to see how it
That's
plays
the
out.
whole point of this fucking exercise.
Right.
I made a
exercise-
disclaimer at the top that we're speculating.
No. We're speculating how they would do against each other. We're speculating how they will evolve within there. I'm saying you specifically.
You want me to invent a world?
You specifically adopting the guarantee that Michael Morales is not long for this division. All I'm saying is that specific speculation. I can't believe it until I see it, until I see him talk about a really hard weight cut, until I see reasons to go, yeah, he's gonna move up eventually. But I'm saying you're speculating on your own off of Saturday night's fight that he's not long for this division.
That's right. I'm speculating in that direction. That's right.
Okay, that's the second worst thing you did. What is up with the disrespect that you're showing Gary here?
Put the ranking back on one more time.
You know I love Sean Brady as a man. He's a hell of a fighter.
You think? Okay, let's talk this out.
But like head to head.
So explain to me clearly. You think Gary beats Brady head to head?
I think Gary beats Brady.
I will bet you. I'll bet you $20 that Brady.
I would wish that we would do something like
Brady is going to take his lunch money.
Like Eric Nixick and Paul Felder exchanging cash on the air live. Oh my God! I would be wanting.
Hey, maybe he owed him $20 for Sweet Green that day. I don't know. Maybe they went to Chipotle and Felder was like, "I can't find my."
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Luke, let's go. But wait.
All right, Long Island Luke, weigh in on my rankings. What did I get right? What did I get wrong?
Well, I do want to see BC's before, but
Okay.
I would put Islam number 1.
Okay.
I'd admittedly put Jack a little lower. I'd probably.
Ooh.
Yeah. I hate to say it because he's my Aussie brethren, but I really don't have a lot of faith in Jack.
Jesus, really?
Yeah. Sean Brady, Ian Gary is such an interesting matchup because I do think Sean Brady could out-wrestle him to a decision, but I do think Ian Gary's the more well-rounded
Ian Gary
fighter,
just takes
so I don't
away
know.
everyone's best attribute.
Not
I do think
against Brady.
6 and
he doesn't.
7 is appropriate. Buckley, Morales.
Oh yeah, eat shit. How about that,
All
BC?
right, well,
All right, let's see
go to
BC's
the
list.
BC's more sobered list here.
Let's see BC's list. All right, talk us through BC.
Look, until I'm proven wrong, I always felt like Islam could go up to 170 and win the belt on day one. Until I'm proven wrong, and still in his peak of his prime here at 33, I'm going to go with that. Shavkat, I'm not going to write off on injury-plagued performances, even though I'm building a lot of my Ian Gary stock on how good he did in defeat against Shavkat. I'm saying that was a compromised Shavkat, but let's give this killer a chance.
Okay.
I struggled the most with the 3-4 here because I had Ian Gary 2 last time, and that was before some big developments and some changes atop this division. I know Ian Gary's ceiling is limited by his ability to not be a dangerous finisher, but I also know that he can hang in there and diffuse anyone's top game, maybe for their top skill, maybe with the exception, like you're saying, if you believe that Brady would break through and that would give him the fight, that he could break through on the ground. This isn't meant to disrespect Brady. I just think Mike Morales, for as long as he is going to be here, has a chance to shake some shit up with those physical advantages at the top. He has a shot without his deficiencies necessarily costing him.
Okay.
Like I want to see if he can ride this wave and what we can do there. Buckley's a tough out. I just feel like Brady may have already scored his biggest win.
I can't believe the Sean Brady disrespect. Long Island Luke,
I mean, I love
how
that guy.
do you perceive Brian Campbell's power rankings here?
I do think Sean Brady. I mean, I said I agreed with Luke 6 and 7. I do think Morales Buckley needs to be your bottom too. So
I think
by
Buckley
default,
would
Sean
be
tough
Brady.
line.
I think Buckley would be Brady.
Buckley is sneaky, well-rounded, but
He
I
is, and
still
very
don't
athletic.
think he's.
You make a mistake against him, you pay big time.
I don't think
sure.
he's top 5 though. I really don't.
Man, I think Gary is overrated here, and I think Brady is being slept on. I'll tell you this much. Can we agree on this? To me, Buckley is a bit of a wild card
Yeah, of course.
because he hasn't beaten anyone yet that makes you really go, wow, he can contend with the top 3. But you look at him on paper, I didn't think he was best suited at 85. 170 is much better. He's very athletic. He is very well-rounded. He can beat you on the feet. He probably is not going to sub you out, but he can certainly wrestle you or defensively wrestle you.
Yep.
So I actually feel like, that's the hard one for me to get right on that one. But I do feel that Morales is technically behind the curve, and I think Brady's ground game is going to be a problem for a lot of people.
I mean, I love Brady, but I feel like he's still very dependent. Very dependent upon the takedown, and I'm not. Even though the striking
Did
is
you
getting
see how
better,
many different kinds of takedowns he got on Leon Edwards?
I did.
He made it look fucking effortless.
I would love to go head-to-head with you in a Gary versus Brady matchup.
Dude,
all
when
right?
if Gary fights Brady, we have to do a special.
It'll be
about this.
Layla and I on one side,
And it'll be me and Sean Brady getting tattoos together. How about that?
There you go. All right, Luke, let's stay in this topic and let's stay in this division. It is time to play matchmaker moving forward.
Okay.
If they gave you the keys to the matchmaking tomorrow,
Ooh.
Sean, Shelby, Mick, Dana sat you down and be like, Luke, we're sick of hearing you rip us. So low key, why don't you come in here and help?
Hardly at all.
Why don't you come in here and help us? So Luke Thomas, from the champion on down there, those are 7 big names. You can also use people like Bilal, the former champion there, Leon Edwards, the former champion, but how would you map it out moving forward?
So definitely, and I know he's been calling for it. He's been calling for it. I think Sean Brady versus Ian Gary is the fight to make. That's the first one.
Okay, then who's getting the title shot if that's the fight you're making?
All right, so Islam's going to come over. So Islam and JDM.
There we go. Okay.
All right, so then we got to figure out what to do with Rachmanov. We got to figure out what to do with Buckley. We got to figure out what to do with Morales.
All right, let me ask you a question. Does Rachmanov, due to the injuries and delays, lose that spot he once held, which means when he's healthy, he gets the title shot?
So I don't think he should, but let's posit that he does. Give him Bilal. That was the fight that they were going to make anyway. Give him Bilal.
Wow, so Bilal would go from losing the title in a close fight to Jack to here's Shavkat.
I didn't think it was all that close. I thought it was 4-1, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
Okay, but it could be. It was.
It was
I scored
2-2.
it 4-1 too.
Yeah.
But it was close and competitive.
It was
physical.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I would go Bilal and Shavkat. We've already got. Are we assuming that Buckley beats Usman?
I am.
Okay, I think he's going to wax him. I think it's not even going to be close.
Luke Nocita, you want to fight for Usman here? Don't.
Nah, I'm favoring Buckley.
All right. So if Buckley wins that one, I think you do Buckley, Leon Edwards. And then if Morales, he's open. Morales, I'm not sure what you do with
Who's
Morales.
Wonderboy got coming up? Doesn't he have a fight?
He's sitting at 11. Michael Morales is already at 12, but that was before the updated rankings.
Yeah.
He's going to be past that. Again, Colby's the name you could do.
I know this is too far of a stretch, possibly, but I want Morales Bilal. You want Shavkat Bilal.
You want Morales Bilal. That's it's
a little off the
5-rounder?
menu. Yeah, 5-rounder.
I don't hate that because you got, again, the piston jab and you've got dynamite takedown defense, but Bilal's going to be on him.
It would be dependent upon Bilal not moving up to middleweight, which there was already talk of that. He already was calling out Hamza, and then you also have Sean Strickland, who badly wants a fight with him. So since middleweight in a year's span kind of lost a lot of its luster with a lot of those big names losing, I wouldn't hate that. But if he stays, from that perspective, he would be getting a guy who's still raw in Morales. You know what I'm saying? They both beat Gilbert somewhat recently. I don't hate that. I like that a lot. That's my pitch on there. But I'm starting to come around to Brady Gary might be that right fight.
I think Brady Gary is absolutely the right fight.
We're creating multiple number one contender fights. So is it just going to come down to who looks the best at that moment with the most hype behind them?
I don't know how they're going to manage it because you got so many guys who are all of a sudden just surged.
We don't need Islam.
Someone tweeted me, they're like, every week it feels like there's a new welterweight contender or emerging star anyway. And I'm like, that's absolutely true. What I'm just going to say is I think that this title's going to change hands a lot. I just don't see hardly any of these guys as like, even though I like Shavkat the most, is he the kind of guy who's going to have like 4 title defenses? I don't think so. I just don't believe
Long
that.
Island Luke, who's closing 2025 as welterweight champion in the UFC?
Oh God, Wait, I wanted to make 2 quick points.
Yes, please.
One is I think winner of Buckley Usman should fight Bilal because Usman Bilal already got that built-in beef, and then Buckley gets the former champ. It's like a good step up in competition.
So that'd be a big opportunity for Buckley right there.
No
The
Buck
other
versus
thing-
Cuck.
The other thing about how hot the welter division is right now, we're forgetting all about Carlos Prates because he just lost to Ian Gary, but like he's in this mix somewhat. And we're forgetting about Joel Alvarez, who
True.
after just pulling out of that BSD fight is now moving up to welterweight.
All right, there you
So,
go.
like,
Prates Alvarez next. There you go.
I was going to say Alvarez, Gilbert Burns, give him a nice veteran test to
Damn.
jump into.
Can we give Gilbert Burns
Can
a
we-
bit of
Colby,
a
you know,
fucking...
you're
you're in the belly
please.
of the beast. This is what happens.
Bro, Gilbert Burns has been fighting nothing but hammers for the last like 4 to 5 times, man. Like, come on.
But you would agree that this calendar year will end with Islam as champion. You will agree with that.
Probably.
That Jack fight's going to be
It's going to be
awesome.
sick. I can't wait.
Damn.
I can't wait.
They don't put that in Perth. Where do they put that? Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi,
October,
October.
probably,
There we go.
yeah.
There we go. Okay, they're pulling us back in, the UFC. They're trying again.
If they can make that John fight in November, I mean, it's going to be on. But
And then if we can still build towards like the long range build toward Ilya Islam, is it still possible with the weight changes? It could be. It could be.
I think if Islam wins the title, it's impossible. I think if he loses,
Not if Ilya wins the title by stoppage and then calls out for it.
if Islam wins the belt, he's not coming back. If he loses, different story.
All right. Interesting stuff right there. Indeed. Quickly, before we get into our next topic right there, I wanted to talk to you about a classic idea. How about a true classic idea, right? Because True Classic, fantastic clothing brand, has one mission: to make sure guys look good and feel even better. And I'm not only the True Classic Hair Club president, I'm also a client right here. I wear the clothes when we're talking about the jeans, the form-fitting T-shirts, True Classic, when I see it come up in the laundry pile, I reach right away because I know I'm going to feel good. I'm going to look good. Why, Luke? Because True Classic has nailed the most important part: the fit, the feel, and the pride it gives you across your entire wardrobe. I know that sounds all romanticized, but at our age, we want to hide the things that need to be hidden. We want to promote the things that need to make us feel good every time we look in the mirror and step outside. For me, it's just that solid classic look, feel, and fit of True Classic. And it isn't just about great clothes. The brand DNA is built on being highly intentional in everything that True Classic does. From creating the high-quality essentials to making folks laugh with their hilarious ads to delivering Ritz-Carlton level customer service or giving back to the communities they believe in. Luke, True Classic stands for a lot of things that I also do.
I was wearing True Classic before they became a brand sponsor here on the show. If that's not, truth in advertising. I picked them up before, and I was like, and when they came to us and they said, hey, True Classic is interested in advertising on the show, I'm like, well, this is perfect because I am already a customer. As BC indicated, the fit, the feel, the customer service, the customer reviews. Double check all of this, please. By all means, if you have any questions, go ask other people. It's what they have in terms of their experience with True Classic. But for us, it fits every part almost. I mean, obviously, black tie affair is one of the scenario. But if you want to dress up a little bit, they've got something for that. If you want to be fit but casual, they've got something for that. Or for guys who are tall, short, they have just quality ingredients, quality fit, quality customer service. You can't really go wrong. BC, I've been wearing True Classic for, as I indicated, a while now. And from the first piece I put on, I knew it was different. Snug where you want it, as you indicated. Relax where you need it. No weird bunching. No awkward tight spots. Clean, effortless fit that works. So forget the overpriced designer nonsense. Skip the cheap throwaways. True Classic delivers premium essentials built for real life. Grab yours at Target or Costco, or head to trueclassic.com/combat. That's combat with a K to get hooked up today.
When my wife sees me, she'll go True Classic, right? I'll be like, yeah, what do you mean? She'll be like, it looks like you've been working out.
Oh,
Okay,
damn.
okay, that's what I'm talking about right there. Okay, so become a True Classic supporter. Check it out, trueclassic.com/combat with a K. There we go. Hey, let's head back into topic number 4, and this is a developing story in a couple of different ways. The future of TKO boxing. That's not what they planned or plan on calling it, of course, but the idea, the March 5th announcement that Turki Al-Sheikh, the nation of Saudi Arabia, would partner with TKO Boxing, Dana White, Nick Khan, Ari Emanuel, all those behind there. And that we thought they would kick off with a September 12th Friday night Netflix Allegiant Stadium offering with Canelo Alvarez versus Bud Crawford. A lot has changed since then. You remember in the past week, Turki Al-Sheikh changing the narrative with his tweets through Mike Coppinger of Ring Magazine about moving that date to Saturday the 13th. That would go head-to-head with what TKO is already doing with UFC Noche. Now we have more boxing media outlets updating their stories and changing the conversation. One of those is Brunch Boxing, which interviewed a bunch of fighters who had been reached out to by TKO to fight under their banner, to fight for their TKO world titles, and to fight at these certain pay structures. And the reviews, at least from this group of fighters, are very negative. So, Luke Thomas, we have an additional update overnight from Turki Al-Sheikh. Can we go to the tweet again here? That says, we have confirmed the promoter for Canelo Crawford. It will be Salah for Riyadh season. The broadcaster we have not decided yet, but the date will be Saturday, September 13th. More details soon. Luke, originally there was that boxing scene report that said, don't buy this. This is another smokescreen. But UFC hasn't commented on it yet. Turkey doubling down. There's no world we're going to live in, right? Where TKO Boxing is going to put out Canelo Crawford on the same night that they're doing UFC Noche. So does this mean, all things considered, could it be grand opening, grand closing for TKO Boxing? Or at the very least, are you convinced now that there is a divorce of some kind between Dana and Turkey?
I think it's a little too early to proclaim divorce is on the way. But I will say that natural fault lines have emerged far faster than I thought they would. One thing I've not heard brought up, you see, I would love to get you to weigh in on this in just a moment, which is I wonder to what extent Canelo got in Turkey's ear. You'll recall that when Canelo fought Kovalev, they had to wait at that time for the Diaz and Masvidal fight to be concluded.
DAZN chose to.
DAZN chose to, but Canelo having to play almost in the evening second fiddle to what the UFC was doing. I don't think he liked that. I don't think the boxing fans like that. And by TKO putting this fight on Friday while maintaining that Saturday slot, which is typically the fight night for boxing 2, it was kind of TKO, which, by the way, understand something. TKO is UFC and WWE first. The boxing part is a secondary thing that they only now are adding to. And again, it might become a huge part. We'll see how it goes. But what I'm trying to point out is organizationally, what do they prioritize? They prioritize their MMA business. I don't know. I wonder if Canelo got in someone's ear about that and was like, I don't really want to fight second fiddle or early or the opener.
Let's go head to head. We've got the bigger fight.
Or let's just go on Saturday night. Like, we have a different fan base and we can do this. We can put this anywhere. We don't have to accommodate the UFC's and TKO's interests in this regard. And I think that I haven't heard anyone bring this up, but like Canelo was noteworthily pissed after that Kovalev fight for having to sit around and wait for UFC. I don't think he wants to do that again.
He didn't seem pissed fighting at 7:30 a.m. against a William School who wouldn't stand in front of him. And
if they were going to pay him a Kovalev, $100 million, maybe he would have done it there too. I don't know.
I think you got to tie into what happened with the fact that Turkey had tweeted out a week ago that he was flying to New York. That coincided with the Netflix upfronts where they announced the schedule, including, of course, the boxing match that Jake Paul's promoting with Taylor Serrano 3 in July, including an NFL game. No mention of this. I'm wondering if Turkey, Dana, Netflix all get together and the deal didn't go well. And then does this lead to Turkey going, well, we don't need Netflix. So if it's not going to be Netflix, it's going to be Riyadh season on our pay-per-views, and we're moving it to Saturday, and we're going head-to-head anyway. Somehow there was the origin of this. Your theory on Canelo is interesting. I'm wondering if they just didn't get the offer that they thought they did, or maybe Dana's public comments about, I hate stadium fights.
I think that's a big part of it. He was like, what was the clip? He was like, someone asked him, hey, you famously don't like doing stadiums. And he was like, I hate it. And I'm like, how does Turkey hear that and think it's a good idea to make that guy the guy? It's not that I don't think Dana can promote shows. I saw Dana promote shows successfully for a decade plus. But if you have openly disdained the stadium show, how does that work in your favor long term?
Think about it. A big part of what Turkey does, obviously the main point of it, since he's using his nation's public investment fund, is to put across the sports washing side of it, the Vision 2030 thing, the thing that they're doing to not have the same dependence on oil money, create tourism, create entertainment options for it. We know, like, that whole mission. That's first and foremost. Secondly, though, there's a big ego play. There's a big flex play going on. If that's what he's normally used to being, the center of it all, the matchmaker, the guy who calls the shots, all that, and now TKO putting in zero money and going equal partner, and they're calling all the shots. What's Turkey just going to sit back in the row and just, fold his arms and enjoy the show? Maybe we were naive to believe that this would ever work out that way.
I just feel like the TKO, I really wonder if the concept is even possible. Can you conceptually manage both a monopoly in pro wrestling, a monopoly in boxing, as well as in MMA without there being a substantive trade-off in one direction or perhaps multiple directions?
Or without buying a promotion so you actually have the fighters you need to
rather
take
than
over.
try to do it. Can you tell people about the Brunch Boxing report that indicated that TKO was having some difficulties signing talent?
Yes. So the main quotes coming out of the talent were, why am I going to take the risk of potentially leaving my current promoter, going to a promotion that I'm not sure is actually going to last the test of time, and on top of that, exiting out of the much as we hate the alphabet structure with the 4 sanctioning bodies, to the fighters, it's their dream. Those are the titles that forever they can say, I was WBC champion. And now these fighters have been saying, the ones that were quoted by Brunch Boxing, why would I take that risk and go fight for this absolute fake TKO title when there's no, all of that? You mix in the pay structure. I interviewed Eddie Hearn on my YouTube channel. It's going to come out in the next 24 hours. He specifically said 2 key things. He said, one, I asked him, I said, look, Eddie, when do you know it's up? The time's up with Turkey. Is there a stop and start date that's been announced to you that says this is when TKO is taking over and doing the 4 Netflix cards a year and they're going to be the focus? And Eddie said, I don't think there is an end date. He goes, I think we and the other promoters that work with Turkey are just going to continue to be working with Turkey. And then I specifically was like, well, what about TKO boxing in there? And he's like, look, I don't think it's going to work. Look at that pay structure. Look at the reputation. Look at all of that. So he was very aggressive. Now, he's a rival of them, so of course he could kind of say that, just like Eddie's been saying publicly, I'm the best promoter in the world. I don't need Turkey should he decide to not work with me. But he was matter of fact that there's no end in sight, and he doesn't think there's going to be an end in sight. Does that just mean he doesn't believe TKO will work? But Luke, I just think it was naive back in 2017 when Dana talked about coming in, because the one good thing Turkey has done, obviously he's given out money to everybody more than they're used to. So they've
Gotten the fighters paid. Can't say otherwise.
They've been like, here, take our, do our matchmaking, whatever. But he has, to his credit, unified the sport in a lot of ways, made people work together who don't. UFC, from the beginning, TKO boxing, the model was the exact opposite. We will work with nobody and we will come in and take over it all. We will, print our own money. We will make our own belts. We will be all of that. We will try to change the Ali Act. Boxing's just not going to bend over for that. So what have I been saying for months as we constantly try to figure this out? There's 2 business models at once. There's the potential for 4 big fight nights a year on Netflix mixed with the Prospect League. But how do they merge those? One is a 5 to 10 to 15 year plan. How do you mix those together without having stables of active, meaningful fighters? Who's going to cross that quote unquote pickup line to come be TKO exclusive if there's no big name fighters fully attached to that? And will the existing promoters actually be willing to put their fighters on cards promoted by TKO? And more importantly, now with this change in development, are TKO and Turkey at odds for good?
That's the thing. Let me ask your opinion. Do you feel like Dana and Turkey are beefing?
Yes. But I also feel like something happened there with Netflix, why Turkey suddenly took control of the announcements and switched it up and said, we're off Friday night, which means you're off Netflix as far as what everybody's concerned. We already know Allegiant Stadium is not booked, is pre-booked for Saturday and Sunday for football. So, yeah, I mean, we've heard nothing from the UFC. Even boxing seemed to put out a new report from Lance Pugmire overnight that doesn't seem to suggest that this is all a lie. It seems to suggest that there's enough smoke here to show us that we're not going to be on Netflix for this fight. In Turkey saying Sala's going to promote it. That doesn't seem to involve Dana and TKO, who currently don't have, by the way, and neither does Sela. No, sorry, it's Sela who currently doesn't have a promoter's license, but they could get it, or they could partner with Eddie Hearn or Tom Loeffler or whoever they wanted to. I mean, we could be proven wrong here, and maybe this would expose the ring putting out misinformation, but you have to smell this. You have to see this smoke and realize that the fire has to be Dana and Turkey, not on the same.
I just think I was trying to explain this to my wife. It seems like real bad that they would make these announcements and then within less than a couple of weeks roll everything that they just told us was going to happen back.
That's Turkey's style, dude. That's his style.
okay, but that's his style when he's the one, and I guess he is still the one calling the shots. But I'm saying if you're going to be using the TKO Dana White imprimatur, then you would imagine that there was some power sharing. But it sounds like there's not. And I mean, this is the interesting part about TKO, BC. They're not putting any money up. They're not putting any money up.
So they're not going to fight for it.
Well, here's the thing. That's right. If relations stay bad, and I don't know if they will, maybe it's just a one-off and they right the ship, but it allows them to cut bait much easier. It allows them to be like, you know what, this is not fine. We're gonna stick with our core business. And by the way, we should remind folks there's a whole other conversation to be had that's smaller, but TKO is trying to take over professional grappling as well.
I think it's part of this conversation.
Craig Jones has been sounding the alarm. Understand Fight Pass invitational contracts. Ready for this? Ready? There's a show money. So I'm going to imagine something, 5,000, and not win. Only if you submit. They're somehow worse than MMA contracts. Can you imagine that? So all that is happening simultaneously, and I suspect that they'll have a lot of success in the grappling world because, I don't think athletes think about these things. It's not a fully developed sport, but in boxing, it is a fully developed sport, and it's a little harder to take. It's one thing to take. Both tasks, BC, are difficult, but it is harder, or I should say, they're hard in different ways to take over and develop a sport that has no federal regulation, but is also not known to the public.
Sure.
Versus there's a fully fleshed out universe, and we're going to come and take over that one. Neither can be easy, but I don't know. I don't know if TKO is equally suited for both.
I mean,
I'll put it that way.
Think about it. Dana was supposed to be the brains behind this in a lot of ways. Nick on the financial sides, Dana on the production rollout side. He hates grand gestures, stadium type shows that Turkey loves to make those statements with. He criticized publicly Turkey's plans by ripping the stadium idea. I think also, remember, Turkey tweeted out a while ago after their announcement that I'm going to leave all the announcements moving forward to Dana. He's the boss moving forward. Well, that changed, right? That changed at Canelo's school when suddenly Turkey's just rolling out the fighters. I think we were naive to just assume, based on past success, that they would have this level of success within boxing. And I think we can start looking at the Riyadh Sisson era of the past year and a half and say, without question, Turkey has given some very big fights that would have been difficult to make. No
argument.
He also has raised up the expectations, I think, of the grandness, the royal regalness of the sport that can still happen. You can still put some lipstick on this pig, and he's shown us how you can do that. From big red carpet galas, whether you care about that or not, to big movie trailer premieres ahead of these fights. But think about what he's actually done. He hasn't brought boxing to the masses. Everything he's done, he's put on the DAZN pay-per-view for the most part, which is, especially in the States, is only
You bank Ben.
Is only the most hardcore boxing fans have access to that. So for all this money that was spent on changing boxing, and yeah, he made a lot of people within boxing happy. Remember at that Crawford fight, how they inducted him honorarily into the Nevada Hall of Fame? Just
no events in Nevada.
Yes, but outside the sport, it's not like the Times Square card was on national television. This is like a lot of money spent to make some big flexes. But what has this done to advance the sport or advance his plans? So, Luke, that money is not indefinite behind him coming from the Saudi government. I wonder if the debacle that was the Times Square / Canelo School weekend maybe hurt their chances of what they thought was a no-brainer, getting Netflix involved for big-time money in a Canelo Crawford one.
I just think it sends I get a weird vibe when they say Dana White's the guy in charge, and then 2 weeks later, no, he's not.
Yes.
That to me, it's just never happened.
TKO's not going to take that shit. They're going to be out.
I've watched a million Dana White deals get signed over the course of almost 20 years. I don't think I've ever seen one go like that.
I mean, we are seeing TKO just exceptional levels of ambitious greed here. Exceptional.
The only one would be the boxing show that he had on Discovery that they canceled after a couple of episodes.
One episode.
Fine, or one episode, fine. But that's TV. They can can call it a day, whatever. They didn't like it. That's TV. This to me feels different. And I don't know what it means long term, but I was shocked to see this development.
I no longer believe that Turkey will be in this sport in 2 years.
Wow, that's a big claim. I do. I think he will be. 2027? Yeah.
Without buying a promotion or without
Who says he won't buy one?
Okay, but when does he begin to make money?
I don't know the answer to that.
TKO, at least, knowing how their proven history of bringing down the prices that they spend while they raise up the amount of money that they make, like that could have worked partnership wise. But if you had the fighters, they haven't proven yet that they have the fighters in a concrete on contract type of way. And boxing, I think, for as disloyal boxing asks the big players involved to each other, I think people are loyal to the sport, and I don't think they're going to. I don't know. I feel like the winds have changed. That's what I feel like from the happening. I think like TKO and Turkey thought it was going to be automatic. They thought they'd just continue that success and continue to land grab and take over. Something happened here, big time behind the scenes, that has put that relationship at jeopardy. You have to believe that. It's interesting stuff. It's theater.
I can't wait to see what happens. It's crazy. I couldn't believe this development, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to question, like, is this just Canelo Crawford? Great idea, but is it the right buildup? Is it the right set of circumstances that are setting it up? It would have been if this talk happened in late 23 after Crawford took out Spence. But
also, like the way that Dana and Turkey originally were in business together, which is where like Riyadh season would sponsor the Noche card at the Sphere or whatever, or they would take a show to the Saudi Arabia and stuff like that. Like, that's like, oh, Turkey, we'll take your money and we'll take your branding and we'll big it up, but this is our show and we're going to control it.
They have that relationship with every single partner they have. They control the shots.
They control
ESPN, they editorially control everything.
How do you get
UFC editorially controls everything that appears on it.
How do you keep that relationship when that's no longer in play? I don't know.
I don't think Netflix is just going to bend over like everyone else does in combat when somebody else has money or status and be like, oh, do what you want. Here's the money. No, like they seem to only want to be in the type of really big events that move cultures, bring in casual fans. Now, look, I like that they're making this move into women's boxing based off of the viewership that Taylor Serrano 2 got on that Mike Tyson-Jake Paul card. I think it's a good direction, a good move, but I don't know if this is going to be gangbusters for them viewer-wise and would lead to consistent I mean, somebody's going to. Is there going to be a home for boxing on Netflix in your eyes, or is it only going to be for one night going out of business, real big crossovers?
I would say that
because that's the only thing that circumvents the divide between regular cable and streaming.
Yeah.
You put it on Netflix, everybody's going to see it. Everybody's going to see it.
Well, I mean, when I was asking you before the show, someone told me that WWE has seen no growth whatsoever in their audience by going to Netflix. So how true is that? I don't know how true that is. What I can say is, to the extent you can bring them, it doesn't have to be big as Paul Tyson, which was obviously enormous, but to the extent you can bring them something that's an event, yeah, Netflix will be in the boxing business. But short of that, no.
Deep inside, as a fan, do you feel like you want your UFC back? Like maybe TKO is the worst thing to happen to combat sports since like CTE.
It took a while for me to really, because when WME took over, or Endeavor took over, it still felt pretty similar for a long time. And again, they were hot during the pandemic, or big portions of it anyway. But now it feels soulless. And Dana White like skipping post-fight pressers, which, dude, Dana used to like look forward to sparring with the media. Far from like just, he didn't have time for it anymore. Like he used to look forward to like, I'm going to tell everyone what time it is. And that was like, again, he was a bulldog for the brand, for better or for worse, a bulldog. I don't know. I mean, who's the bulldog?
I don't know
who
want
that
them
is.
In boxing. They're going to create a soulless product that takes advantage of the fighters and changes legislature based on. Political
They were talking about putting Teofimo Lopez versus Jaron Butsenos, which they may not even make the fight. But if they make it, they're going to put it in Saudi Arabia, dude. What the fuck is that? What is that? That's.
Look, this was a wild run. We had a fun ride. Obviously, it's not over. Turkey's continuing to add things and try to do more things. I just think emotionally, I'm kind of done with this era for boxing. The Turkey/TKO era.
I think you're done. I don't know if boxing's done with it.
I mean, the year before Turkey, 2023, was red hot.
One of the best years of boxing in maybe a decade.
I made a lot of money that year.
I
don't make that same money anymore, but shout out to those days.
Yeah,
right?
I made a pretty coin that year.
Yeah. All right. Hey, let's go to topic number 5. And this is good news for the UFC. Patchy Mix is here officially. He showed up at Saturday's Fight Night card at the Apex, met with the media. And now we know for official, he has signed a deal with the UFC after PFL released him. And now we've got an opponent as he's going to face Mario Bautista as a late replacement at UFC 316 in just a couple weeks in Newark, New Jersey, June 7th. So, Luke, how much does Mix have to prove in your eyes? He remember a year and a half ago, he was one of the most red hot fighters in the world. He's been cooled off a bit with that one fight in PFL, the rematch with Magomedov. How much does this specific matchup against a tough Mario Bautista mean to his UFC future here? Because this is a hell of a signing to fall into your lap at the moment.
I mean, I think on some level it's weird, right? Because in terms of being 32 and needing to make a splash and move to the front, the clock is ticking a little bit. I don't think he's getting old, but he did miss a portion of his prime just kind of fucking about, waiting for PFL to get their act together. On the other hand, he's kind of playing with house money here, BC. Bautista, not well liked. Patchy Mix, not well known to the casual fan. The hardcores know who he is, but he has the opportunity here to make a gigantic splash. And then I think, honestly, rocket to the front of this division. And what's kind of interesting is for folks who don't know, we had Patchy Mix on this show, but he's discussed it in other places. He and Merab have trained extensively together. They have a very friendly relationship, but he's not opposed whatsoever to fighting Merab if it comes down to it. So, BC, you've got a guy in your UFC debut who, to me, people are sleeping on Mario Bautista a little bit. I actually think he's limited but tough in certain ways. And to your point, Patchy Mix did not look, the guy who won the Strikeforce Bantamweight, the guy who won the Bellator, Bantamweight Grand Prix, I think that guy could beat any bantamweight in the world. But then he showed up against Magomedov in the rematch and looked like not a great version of that. So I don't really know where, we haven't seen him since. So I don't really know where he is. It's not about proving anything to the hardcores because that's kind of it's not really of a relevant concern. It's a question of introducing himself to the casuals, winning over the matchmakers, winning over UFC management, and he's got an absolutely A+ golden opportunity. You wanted to fight? Boom, it's fallen in your lap immediately against a guy the fans basically don't like, in a division where they're hungry for a contender. And oh, by the way, there's a storyline built in with the guy who will probably remain, and it currently serves anyway, as the existing champion. And by the way, if O'Malley wins that one and Mix beats Batista, I would favor Mix to win against Sean O'Malley because his ability to find the back is extraordinary. BC, this kid has the opportunity, he's 32, but he has an opportunity to do something huge for himself at UFC 316.
I'm so excited for him. And Bautista's 31. He is riding a 7-fight win streak, but that split decision win over Jose Aldo, it almost feel like it was worse than a defeat would have been to set back his stock. Obviously, if he gets a win over Patchy Mix in the debut here and extends that win streak to 8, Bautista will advance himself. But yeah, this is great. I mean, I'll give UFC a lot of credit. The recent free agents that have come in, they've put him in tough fights right away. They're giving RDR a path to the top here. Now, 3 wins in 6 months. He's got Whitaker coming up. Even though Pitbull lost and didn't look great in that fight, we were talking maybe he can get a title shot off of that win in his debut that he lost there to Yair Rodriguez. Also, Kaya Sakura debuted in the title fight. So I like this aggressiveness from UFC to show respect to these guys that are coming in from other organizations that are established and inserting them right into the mix. So as we look at bantamweight at the moment, where will Mix ultimately fit in this division? I mean, I don't know. Can he get 2 wins? Is he 2 wins away from a title?
I think he's less than that. I think he could get a win and move.
Damn.
Depending how it goes. If he goes in there and does to Bautista what he did to, I don't know, Rafael Stotts, yeah.
I don't know if you caught Don Davis's latest LinkedIn post. It was about how his success as an entrepreneur has been directly in relation to his positivity. And right now, it's so negative on like, social media, which is true. And
he's not wrong about that.
But I like to stay positive, Don, just the same as you. I also like to keep my assets and use them to get me ahead right there. Damn, I mean, I'm happy for Patchy Mix,
PFL
but
botch this shit.
What the fuck, PFL?
Dude, what? Let me ask a serious question, BC. Looking back on it, what the fuck was the point of the Bellator acquisition?
To inroads in Europe.
That's it.
Pre-existing inroads in Europe.
Someone asked me this, and they said, given all the talent they've given away, what was the point? To get rid of competition, so they're the clear number 2.
Yeah, but they would have faded anyway. They were looking for a seller.
To add to their tournament depth of available bodies, like that was also part of it, I'm sure.
Could have found those anywhere. What did paying for all of that?
Oh, I'm not saying that they knew what they were doing or had a plan. I mean, the biggest.
But they didn't pay for shit, right? They got it all in stock options or something.
True.
So.
Okay, I mean, they didn't come up off cash, but they wasn't handed to them for free.
He has not used that brand to help him. I like that first pay-per-view when they did PFL versus Bellator. Cool idea. It was fun, whatever. There's been a couple of good fights or opportunities, but they're not inserting the Bellator fighters into their biggest profile opportunity. I mean,
they're putting Johnny Eblin and Dakota Ditcheva in South fucking Africa.
By the way, I called home to my parents on Mother's Day, and I talked to my dad for 5 minutes. 4 minutes of that conversation, he brought it up, was about Dakota Digital. I'm not kidding.
Dude, are you and your dad the horniest men alive?
I'm not kidding, but this is a true fact that did happen. Wow. Okay. Thanks, Dad. But yeah, what are we doing here, PFL? Would it be crazy? I mean, you think one win for Patchy? One big win here could open up the door?
That seems like
Who's next? If Merab wins, who's next?
Corey is probably next.
Okay.
So they could maybe do another one after this. But I'm just saying he could catapult. Let's just say this. With a big win over Bautista, he could catapult huge amounts.
Who's more likely in his marriage bed to win a UFC title first at this moment?
Patchy Mix.
You think Suarez comes back? Because that was a disappointing title loss.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Okay. Well, good news for their household, though.
Yes.
Just the same right there. Shout out to Patchy Mix. Oh, we have some sound from him.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
I'm not afraid of anyone in this division, especially Mario Bautista. So he's on a 7-fight win streak, and I want that 7-fight win streak. So when they called me, I answered it, and I'll make weight, and I'll get the job done. So, it didn't matter who. I didn't mind if he was ranked number 1 or number 50. I would have went against the best, the hardest, the guy that they didn't want, anyone to fight. It didn't matter. So it happened to be him, and I think Chito Vera popped his rib or something. They called me within like an hour or two. I was like, hell yeah. Within like a day, I think it was getting made. So, I'm already a multi-time world champion. I'm 20-1 with 16 finishes. I got more finishes and a better record than every single guy ranked right now. I'm already a multi-time world champion. That's beaten the who's who, very good names in MMA. So I plan to win this fight, and I expect to be at the top of the division. Whether it's a title fight next, I don't know, but I don't mind what it is, as long as it's a step up, I plan to be successful against Mario Bautista, and then move forward, Hopefully the top 5, top 3, I don't fear any man, so any of them are fine.
We got high with Patchy Mix.
We did, indirectly. Yes,
I mean, we didn't mean to, but we did.
And I stopped him, and I was like, tap that motherfucking ass. And he was like,
I think he did, yeah.
Sir,
we were at High Rollers, and
Yes.
I cannot overstate to you the amount of marijuana smoke in that place.
Yes. Wow. So, dude, the way that he rolled through that Bellator tournament and the names that he picked off one after another and submitted the shit out of them, does he have the BJJ size and demeanor to do that same thing to a lot of the top 10 at bantamweight? Should we be shocked if he does?
We should not be shocked if he does. Again, he's got something to prove here a little bit in terms of the folks paying attention to his career. That run through the tournament was absolutely magical. It was one of the best runs through a tournament I've ever seen an MMA fighter do. Not the best, but one of them, certainly. And then the follow-up was just very flat. So there's some big questions to answer, honestly. But the fact that the casual fan doesn't know him means he doesn't have so much to live up to. It's just about what's available to be grabbed. And there's quite a bit there.
Loosely related to Mix is PFL kind of, maybe they're hearing the criticism. They have an upcoming tournament semifinal card, but they're going to add an individual special attraction bout on it. And that fight, though, our teammates Sergio Pettis and
Rafael
Stotts, who we love,
which, by the way,
of the program.
Very good fight.
Very good fight, but it's like they've been sitting on the shelf doing nothing. I would have liked to see them inserted into the tournaments or into something. Again, this fight is worthless, though. It's just an attraction fight. It's just something.
Well, it's better than just having Donkerson versus Rick Rickerson in the tournament, putting a couple names on there and making it a crown jewel. Now, they should have done it for a title fight. They should have had Eblin fight there, or they should have had Dakota fight there. But whatever. As long as they're making moves in the right direction, I'm generally supportive of it. But it's like, you could have done this a few years ago.
I mean, my dad knew everything about Dakota.
That's a little alarming.
He was like, I watched every single fight in a row. I know about her mom.
Yeah, we talk about Long Island's dad's ball bag, but maybe the more interesting ball bag is your own father's.
I don't think we can talk about that any further there, but that was an interesting life development. Okay, Dad, that's cool. All right, that's great. Those are our 5 topics.
I can assure you that is not what my dad talks to me about when we talk on the phone.
Does he talk about like world markets and stocks and
he does talk about things like that. Not so much the economy per se, but you know, the history of the Peloponnesian War was the conversation yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Peloponnesian.
Yeah.
What is it? Who is involved in that?
I encourage you to go read a book.
The
BC.
Peloponnesian War?
Yes, go read about the Peloponnesian.
What nations?
BC?
The Peloponnesian War. Am I supposed to be like right off the tip of my tongue?
No, not per se.
This ain't the War of 1812, right?
I'm reading a book. You're going to laugh at me. I'm reading a book by this history professor at Stanford on the nature of revolutions. And the central thesis of the book is that through much of human history, revolutions were considered to be a dangerous, bad thing for society. But that all changed right around the time of the French Revolution because a theory of history began to get put forward at that time, which is that history is inexorably progressive. Like over time, it gets better. And then revolutions become a ladder for progress. They become something you see people lean into, and not just from the Western minds. Ayatollah Khomeini, when he talks about the 79 revolution in Iran, leans into a positive vision of the future through revolution. This all changed. And I was talking about some of the ancient Greek and Roman thought and history that went into it. And then my dad goes into a part about the Peloponnesian War.
Yeah, from 404 BC.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys get interesting, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't be more different in what we talked
Yeah,
about.
your dad was like, I'm horny for fighters.
Although he lives in Florida, he doesn't.
I'd like
speak
to have
he
sex
does.
with the fighters.
Those are our 5 topics. Now, though, we hear from the fan. First and foremost, you can reach us if you want to reach out to the show at morningcombat@gmail.com for Friday's fan subs, dead wrongs, and just in general, if you want to show Mikey your pack. I mean, no, if you want to complain about the show. But this is a segment we do where every Sunday night at Morning Combat on Instagram, on X, we reach out to the fans and say, ask us anything. You can put it anywhere. This is called DMs from Donks.
Oh, there it is.
All right. I have not read these. Luke, we're going
I have not read
blind
these
to the
either.
fire here. Let's see who's the first question from. Maybe Daz? No, from Sam Laban. Why are there no celebrity power slap matchups? So much potential to manufacture beefs between B and C-list celebs and then slap it out.
Is that I mean...
Yeah, but Dana thinks it's
can,
a real sport. He's presenting it as a real sport.
Well, also, if you're a B and C list, you can just do like a meet and greet and probably make as much or more than you would one of these like dumb fuck slapping contests.
They've also signed some like independent wrestlers to slap as well.
How much does an indie wrestler make in a year? I mean, that makes a little bit more sense. They've got personality and they don't make much.
Right. Exactly.
But a B-list celebrity? Dude, a B-list celebrity can...
I mean, we're talking about
you can still make a fair amount of good money. Like, we always talk about it. Like, who was Colt McCoy, backup quarterback in the league? The motherfucker made almost $50 million not doing jack shit. A B-list guy and as a celebrity, a C-list guy. Like, you can make good money doing that.
Yeah, this is gross.
You can do it.
Well, first of all, Colt McCoy's not going to slap anybody.
I'm pointing out, like,
you need
there
like
are if
reality show drug addicts. That's what you need.
Like, how
Jersey Shore cast.
I was gonna say
Had them,
DJ
like,
Paulie
yeah.
D, dude. He makes good money. Why the fuck would he go into a slapping contest?
Right, we would need someone much worse off. Like
I think the question though is posing like, regardless of if DJ Paulie D is making money, would you watch Power Slap if it was DJ Paulie D getting slapped? I think I would.
I'd rather get fucked to death by an 8-dicked
Well,
walrus.
you would prefer that over a lot of things. It's actually kind of questionable.
I hate power slap, but let's go to our next question.
Have you seen the Australian thing, or maybe it's the
where
Kiwi thing called Run It?
Yeah,
Where they run at each other
So
in the
it's like
Oklahoma
that-
drill, no pads.
the best event in American Gladiators? Remember Breakthrough and Conquer? You have to run with a football
don't.
through the other, and then the conquer part is you get in the wrestling ring, you got to push them out.
Yeah.
That running thing was always awesome because it was like real contact and no pads for the most part. But this is CTE.
Dude, it's
heaven.
amazing. These guys will like get knocked out and then they'll do like the fencing pose, where their fingers are all fucked up, like Tua. And then the whole crowd around them will like surround them and be like, oh, bitch, you got knocked out. I'm like, this guy has severe brain damage. What the
Yeah.
fuck are you doing?
Yeah, that's what power slap needs, more intense celebrations like teabagging somebody if they're out cold.
Here's what I'll say. If the conversation is what's better, now they're both insanely stupid and dangerous, but if the conversation is what's better, slap or run it, dude, run it is much more exciting. Much more exciting.
Probably more dangerous too.
Much more dangerous too, yeah.
Damn. All right, next question from the people. This is at Eric Bolden. He says, would you rather have a fight card basically every week like they do now, or go back to the 2010 days where they held 24 fight cards? What would be better for MK? Better fight cards but spaces out, or weekly cards?
It's a hard conversation to have because MK is based off of the calendar that exists.
Yes.
If you change the calendar, we would have to change MK to some extent to follow that.
It would be a lot goofier.
Yeah.
And gimmicky.
Here's what I would say. I would be okay with the UFC dialing back to high 30s, low 30s, maybe mid 30s, somewhere around 33, 34, somewhere around that in terms of annual events. But with one caveat, BC, that there'd be enough of an MMA economy beyond them where on some of those other weekends where, for example, back at this time, 2010, if UFC didn't have an event on that weekend, Strikeforce might have.
Right.
And
we
so
would give our attention to that.
And you would give our attention to it, and it would be a little bit all over the place. And you could decide, if that was worth your time. But like just going back to, now I'm gonna make up something. Now we're gonna have 30 events, but then there's no corresponding uptick on Saturdays from the rest of the MMA economy. That doesn't really serve our interest either. So it's not that I mind MMA being on every weekend. It's I mind one dominant brand being the only thing on every weekend.
And the fight night quality of the main events, co-main events
exactly.
is just basura, as Luke would say. You're insulting
Dude, I was
us.
looking up this card. Hold on just one second. Because
I'm holding on. What are you talking about, this Blanchfield card coming up?
No. So I was looking up at the time, this Strikeforce card. Because I was trying to find out when this take place. I was looking up for the rankings, right? Check out this card. Let me just tell you who was on this effing thing. It's just unbelievable who was on this. Hold on just one second. Let me pull this up here.
Would you go through the big lady on Wilson Phillips to get to China?
Okay, that's a lot you just put on my plate. I don't know what to say about it.
Okay, sorry.
Here's what I'm going to say. This was the Strikeforce Heavyweight Grand Prix semifinals. This took place September 10th, Cincinnati, Ohio. It was on Showtime. Listen to this card. This was a Strikeforce card, okay? Josh Barnett versus Sergey Haratonov. Great fight. Cormier, Bigfoot. Okay? Luke Rockhold, Jacare for the title.
Damn.
Great fight. Okay? King Mo versus Roger Gracie. Roger Gracie, arguably the best gi grappler of all time. Not arguably, the best gi grappler of all time. Pat Healy versus Maximo Blanco. Maximo Blanco was a wild man. Pat Healy fought Habib. Mike Kyle versus, listen to this, Marcos Rogerio de Lima, who's still fucking fighting to this day. Mike Kyle won that one, by the way. Yoel Romero loses to Feijão Rafael Cavalcante. He gets stopped inside the second round of that contest. Jordan Meehan versus Cyborg Santos. Alexis Davis beat Amanda Nunes on this card.
Damn.
And then another one, Dominic Steele versus Chris. I can't pronounce the other guy's name. But the last one doesn't count. Dude, that was a Strikeforce fucking card.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about when we have like different MMA offerings to enjoy.
I'm with you on that one. I want my combat sports back.
That was, again, you don't
Maybe
know
we
how,
have to start fighting for our combat sports. All right?
or just throwing in the towel and doing something else.
Yeah, getting into political punditry.
No, pornography is really what I'm thinking about.
All the P's covered. You got any more of them jams from the people? This is from at TVGC MMA. Views on Sela promoting Crawford and Canelo, not TKO. And do you think this was always the plan and use TKO for attention, or because Dana said doesn't like stadiums? We had a whole topic built upon this.
Yeah, we kind of been over this one.
We need quality control on these. Sorry, TVGC MMA. You already heard, right? You already heard. I mean,
I heard.
You got any more of these jams? At Flannels and Jits, we like this guy. Like, he rolls. This guy, he competes. He's a competitor. He's a competitor.
Does he win?
Yeah, this guy seems like a good dude. With Jose Aldo now retired, and he did say publicly, Jose did that there's not a UFC fight he would come back.
He did come back yesterday, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
What is your favorite King of Hio fight or memory? And then second question, what is his MMA legacy?
I have two. May I share?
Sure, I would love it.
So really three, because the guy who he beat in his WC debut, Pequeno Nogueira, had a big reputation for having a fierce guillotine, and Aldo beat the living fuck out of him, and that was an eye opener. But the two big ones were, I was actually with my then girlfriend, now wife at the time. We were at her place when he beat Mike Brown.
Yes.
And I did think he was going to beat Mike Brown, but people will look at Mike Brown's career who didn't live through it and be like, what was so special about it? Motherfucker, he was dominant. He was very, very good. He destroyed all the WEC's plans to promote Uriah Faber. And then he has the belt, and Aldo went in there and toyed with him. I couldn't believe.
Would you say it was Silva Lieben style toying?
Different, because it was more positional control on the ground. But Mike Brown was known for his physical strength, and Aldo manhandled him. I couldn't believe it. And then the other one was his first fight with Chad Mendez, where he knees him and then jumps into the crowd in Rio.
I was going to say that's the
moment. And they hold him up. It's like, dude, this triumphant king of his people. Oh my God.
And was that the rematch?
No, that was the first one.
The first one.
The
Then the second
rematch
one
ended
was
up being a great fight.
Competitive as shit. Was a great fight. Yes. Yeah, the run into the crowd, that was like iconic. It reminds me of Pearl Washington in the Carrier Dome for Syracuse after he hit a half-court buzzer beater. He ran like 50 rows.
No one gives a fuck about Syracuse.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, that's a great moment. I think when was it the Jeremy Stevens fight? When he had lost the back-to-back by stoppage to Holloway, and we were like, we're not
Yes,
even
and it was
sure.
a rebound fight.
And
yes.
that rebound fight, it was like a body shot, and it just felt like
he cried.
He was back.
And his team put him on his shoulders and everything. Yeah, man.
That was a good moment right there. His resume, Luke, is despite me trying to previously keep him out of it, he's an upper room guy. He's an upper room all-time great guy, the best in his division's history. An absolute icon. Look at the longevity. He could still go right now if they actually put him in fights that matched his current state. He went down in weight late in his career and was a title contender. I mean, took on all challenges. I wish for him he would have gotten a Conor McGregor rematch at some point. I wish for his arc, his legacy, his story. That would have been great.
Life takes you in funny directions.
He almost folded up shop against Hominick in round 5. Don't forget that, all right?
I was there at that event.
Oh, wow. That Rockman-sized hematoma.
Yeah, Hasim Rockman thing.
Yeah. I mean, you love that man, the king of Heo, but you know he's going to be in BKFC soon. You know that.
He says he's not even gonna put on a gi. He said he's not even gonna. He said what he would do is help friends train.
Yes.
Because he wants to help people, but he's like, in terms of like competing, he says he's done, and I hope he's done. Dude, he's taking a fuck ton of damage at this point. You know.
Imagine if he gets a chance to box like a bad version of McGregor, he'll take it.
It's kind of funny, man. Like Aldo went long stretches of his career right through that first Korean zombie fight where he didn't take hardly any damage. And it was after that where all the damage began to get poured in. And then once it did, like it just kept coming.
I refuse to try to remember what the Jan ending looked like when he got hit in the brainstem 56 times in a row. Yeah.
So I'm glad he's calling it a day.
What a legend. What a man. What a very good man.
Are there any more?
Oh, wow. From at probably, Brian, maybe, at almost halfway through 2025 and with the biggest fights on the horizon, what is your fight of the year so far? I'm still torn, Brian says, probably Brian, between Paul Hughes versus Usman Nurmagomedov or JDM versus Bilal Muhammad.
I'm going to say Hughes Nurmagomedov.
Yeah.
But I think there's a variety of responses.
What else, Luke, what else is in the fight of the year conversation?
I was going to say, I'm like blanking on what we've even had so far. Nurmagomedov Hughes is like the easy go-to because he gave us the options, but there's probably like a random prelim fight we're forgetting.
Can it be that good if we...
Well, dude, we just had Costa, Julian Erosa put on a banger of a fight.
Okay,
I
but
won't
Dude,
not
you're
bad.
acting like this fight is going to stand the test of time.
that
It
was
is
a
not
decent
going
it
to
was
stand
the
the
best fight on the card. I probably won't
Yes.
remember it in a month.
Okay,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
The two fights he listed were both main events. The Usman Nurmagomedov Hughes and then JDM and Bilal. Those were both main events. I'm sure we're forgetting one. There's been a lot of good fights. I will say it's not like the year's been nothing but bad fights. That's really not true.
Right.
But there's not been like huge, amazing breakout fights.
There have not.
That's the kind of thing.
There have not. Do you think Eubank Bennett's going to win in boxing?
It's going to be tough to beat. That fight.
I mean,
ruled.
the second better Bivol fight was great as well.
Yeah, but Eubank Ben had more drama.
Maybe the third Taylor Serrano will weigh in on
July,
this.
right?
That we gotta
Netflix,
give that
right?
fight love.
That's Netflix?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Netflix. Damn right. That's a hell. I mean,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
That's a sick fight.
And we're gonna get a third better Biev fight at the end of the year, right? Better Bivol, excuse me.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Can you imagine Canelo? I know how you were like, oh, Canelo could fight Bivol again. Word. That was going to happen. He'd get absolutely fucking
I want to see
shellacked.
him. I want to see him compete. You know.
Yeah, that's
you
over.
see, you sent me that video. Bob Arum was like, "Yeah, Canelo doesn't want it anymore. He doesn't.
I've been saying that. I've been saying that for how long, BC?
Yeah, you're right. You sniffed
For a
it
while.
out. You sniffed out that red. All right. You sniffed out the amber. That was the color of his energy, Luke. You know what I'm saying? All right, those are our fan questions. Thank you for sending. We have one final segment for you. It's when I try to make Luke Thomas either laugh or be heavily disturbed by the viral videos I found by scraping the internet.
If there's the cake lady on here, I'm punching you in the face.
This one's called "Have You Seen This Ish?"
Can I tell you my wife now likes the cake lady?
Oh, your wife is aware of this?
Yes. not from the show, independently.
Okay.
And she sent me one because she likes that show. Is It Cake? Have you seen it?
No.
It's on, I think it was on Netflix or HBO Max or whatever. And where, you know, they make like, oh, is it a bookshelf or is it a fucking cake? You know, but it's like a little more structured.
Sure.
Whereas this lady's just walking around eating things like a fucking
I'd like
goat.
to. Would you watch an X-rated version of that segment? Like, is it dick or is it cake? You know? And
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch a dick eating contest. No. Yeah.
When you frame it like
I'll
that,
skip that one.
Okay.
That one you can keep that one.
Oh, speaking of eating a dick, Luke, here's your boxing interview of the week.
With us this morning, and look, this is going to be a tough fight on paper, at least against William Zepeda. Tell us why it won't be tough in the ring.
First, I want to say we were by far the worst commentator and interviewer in the business. Actually, this is his third take, but William Zepeda is a great fighter, and on paper, it's supposed to be the hardest fight of my career. So let's see what happens July 12th.
Yeah, we'll see. And I appreciate the kind words, Shakur. Thank you for that.
Nah, no kind words for you, brother.
Oh, okay. Well, I was being sarcastic, obviously. But
Oh, for real. I didn't know.
oh, okay. Well, good. I'm glad you have a sense of humor. But in the ring, William Zepeda likes to bring.
Can you rate this on the Coppometer?
Well,
Is that the worst? That he's
let me
faced?
just say this. In fairness, Uriah Hall did this to us.
Yes. Oh God, it's happened to me. I've been dunked on it.
Yeah, I've actually. He's not the only one who's done it to me.
Mike
yeah.
Perry said he'll kill me when he sees me. Yes.
Yeah, that's another one. So it's happened a few times. That was pretty funny.
That was.
So, you know what the line is that actually makes that whole thing? He goes, "This is actually his third take."
Poor cop, dude. He got Shakur gave
Shut
it to
the
him.
fuck up, you little prick.
You love that clip. Would you say that's your favorite clip of all time?
It's top 3.
We should watch it again, right?
Shut the fuck up.
You little prick.
Yeah?
Yeah, you prick.
Go ahead.
Come on, get him out of here.
Perry, you're getting out of
You
here.
move. Shut the fuck up, you little prick.
Yeah?
Yeah, you prick.
I'd love to write an oral history on that moment. Just interview everyone involved and just really get.
Bob Arum. Bob Arum has been promoting since the 60s.
Yes.
He went to Harvard. Obviously, his body has declined. That motherfucker's mind
it's sharp.
he's still sharp.
Sharp and salty.
And dude, this is what I love about boxing. Boxing is full of old men, and old men don't give a fuck what you think.
Yeah, that's true.
And they will absolutely tell you whatever's on their mind.
Indeed.
It is amazing.
This old man, Derek Chisora, tried to pick up Sky Nicholson on camera, and this is what happened.
Oh, God.
How are you?
Oh, yeah?
Good, thanks.
When are we gonna grab dinner?
Whoa.
Well, when are we gonna grab dinner?
Don't be coming at me like that.
Don't you like dinner or what?
I like dinner on my own.
Oh, shit. That's some cold shoulder shit. Did you see that?
No, because I just got a fucking alert that there's... God damn it, dude. God damn it. Did you hear about this?
I don't know what the alert is, Luke.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to guess?
Due to New Jersey transit work dispute, there may be an event taking place outside of the blah, 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 and it's going to affect traffic and your ability to get home on a reasonable time. So now, please put a gun in my mouth.
Oh, okay. I don't accept that type of talk. That's ridiculous. I was 2.5 hours late last week. Just the train's behind, I got home 2.5 hours late. But I still watched when my friend played a funny video. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
I apologize to you.
Okay. You don't have any follow-ups about Sky Nicholson?
Well, sexual harassment in the workplace.
All right, there we go. Hey, UFC was back in the Apex on Saturday. Check out Michael Morales, his mama, going sick on the sidelines here. Luke.
Goes ham.
Trabaja eso, bracea. Vamos, bracea.
Dale, Michael, dale, Michael.
Dale.
Síguelo, Michael.
Shoot, yes, get after it, right? I wish we could have Tuki do that for you, like in the studio.
So I asked my wife, because I'd never heard this word, arrecho.
Yeah.
And I asked her what it means. And what she tried to explain to me was it really depends on where you go. So apparently in Colombia and Venezuela, arrecho means horny. But I guess in Ecuador, where they're from, it means more like power or passion or, like strong
Not
feeling.
hashtag horned up.
Yeah, but it doesn't quite mean horny.
All right.
But, yeah.
Well, Long Island Luke's fight of the year, Melky versus Juicy J, had a Rocky and Apollo moment back at the hospital. This is some nice Bushido here.
Aí os dois na luta da noite.
Linked forever in history.
Yeah, man.
Exclusiva.
When they're doing the hospital gurney bit, you know it was a tough ass fight.
Luke, you once gave explosively awful life advice for people to not follow their dreams.
It's good life advice.
I'm wondering
actually.
if this is your mentor.
What's your life advice?
Life advice. Just because you don't give up doesn't mean you will make it.
Listen to Luke Thomas, folks. Okay, shoot low.
I know that people don't like hearing uncomfortable truths, but that lady is right.
All right, time for your sandcastle of the week. I don't know if this is appropriate around children, but they did it anyway, Luke.
What the fuck?
Oh, it gets better.
Oh my God! look how happy that kid is.
Oh yeah.
And he's got the 2 beers. You know what? Actually, now I support this. This is pretty great.
Look, I'm a sucker for foreign people who speak broken English yelling insults at each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it creates moments like this.
You are the job! Hey, shut your mouth! Don't shout! I fuck you right here, motherfucker! You don't know me! Don't motherfucker try to be smart ass! I fuck you right here! Motherfucker!
You're fucking fighting, Luke. What's going on?
Motherfucker, you are respect yourself! Fucking Pakistani asshole!
So this is in DC.
Wow.
That's Dulles Airport. So I don't know who that was, but I also love scenes like this. Yes.
I'll third world your ass, as Luke Helfand says.
No, it was the cab driver.
I know that.
It was the cab driver.
Luke, we won't show footage of it because they'll copyright us, but Darren Till scored a Misfits boxing victory over Darren the Dentist Stewart, nearly getting a KO in the final second. But here's who he wants next.
I don't hate Jorge Masvidal, but I promise you right now, I promise you on my life right now, I will get my revenge on Jorge Masvidal and I will knock him clean, spark out. I will get my revenge, mark my words.
Are you into Till Masvidal 2 in a boxing?
No, not at all.
All right, here's Jorge Masvidal's response.
Get it.
That was a flying cock, that move. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, very funny.
Elsewhere in boxing this weekend, Chris Cyborg was back in the pro boxing ring in California and delivered a first round, an early KO. I'm not sure what round.
20th anniversary of her combat sports career, basically.
A legend, a true legend. Can't speak on the quality of opponent.
Yeah,
but
listen, you're fighting numbers at this stage of boxing or whatever, but the fact that Cyborg is just out here getting after it however she can, staying active however she can.
Are we going to see
amazing.
Cyborg home too in a boxing ring? Is that are we
possible? You can see it. And by the way, remember she beat Pacheco, right? In PFL, the one time that she's been used in PFL. Dude, Cyborg's a fucking legend,
I
bro.
I saw a rumor that Pacheco can't make any headway with PFL or UFC right now.
I did hear about that. I don't know. I haven't
kind of hung
followed
out
up.
to dry with the situation in the moment. I would like to see her get back to the UFC if she wants to, because she can fight.
She's proven to be quite the formidable opponent.
Our final boxing highlight of the weekend took place in Santo Domingo, the Dominican, Luke. Check out the referee here. He just got punched in the back of the head, and then it's going to get worse for him here.
What the fuck, bro?
This is disgraceful. This is not good.
Okay, do we know what the story is? Why are they beating up the referee?
Well, I'm sure they don't like the way he officiated.
Dude, he just dove out of the ring. Jesus.
My church CYO basketball team, my junior year. No, I wasn't on the team this year.
CYO?
I joined the team the next year. Yeah, Christian Youth Organization.
Okay.
So basically, in my town, if you didn't play on the high school team, you could play on the rec team. But the rec league it ended your junior year. So senior year, I was like, I need to play hoops. So I joined my CYO team. The year before, they made it all the way to the New England Championship. But when they won the state championship over a team from Hartford, as soon as the final whistle blew, the referee ran out and the team chased him out in the parking lot and beat the shit out of him in front of everybody.
Dude.
So that's where I come from.
For
right?
Jesus.
There we go. No, forget.
Don't forget Jesus.
Luke, you know this game. Rate it from 1 to 10. It's time to rate that tat. Here we go. Here's Daniel Rodriguez, old D-Rod, putting Jesus on the dome. Luke, rate that tat.
So a couple things that should be noted about this. Number one, dome tattoos have exploded in popularity.
Yes.
More recently, like in the last year or two. It's the first thing I'll say. Second of all, it's hard to say from right here because I would need to see how it looks at the front like this. It does not look like a bad tattoo.
Is Jesus' beard supposed to mimic a hairline in the front when he lifts his head up?
This is what I mean about like doing these kinds of tattoos where he's trying to get the hairline to mimic the beard. I don't know if that works. It does not. It's not a poorly applied tattoo, if that's what you're asking.
Great topic, great subject matter. You're
but
gonna go
it's
like
it's a little much for me.
6.
The guy who did a bunch of my tattoos has a big ass head tattoo. And I asked him what it was like, and he said you can just hear buzzing, like rattling through your skull.
Oh, that's good.
So I will never do that.
So you won't rate the stat though because of the religious connotations.
7.
Okay, well, let's take that rating to the next one. Here's a combination of two of our childhood heroes, Luke, E.T. and Stone Cold.
What? Y'all are trying to find me for scientific experiments? What?
What do you rate this one, Luke?
I mean, this is a negative 8 billion.
Come on, that's a solid 3, right?
But I mean, I love the detail in the armpit, which is really weird on both sides.
The abs coming through the vest. I like
E.T.'s
this.
got some abs there.
One bicep is a lot bigger than the other.
Yeah, I mean, this is a poorly done tattoo, but it's funny.
Jerks with that arm.
Can you imagine getting this on the
obviously.
back of your fucking leg.
All right, Luke.
White trash
rate
piece
this,
of shit.
Rate this political tap, please. 1 to 10.
Wow, brother. You're down bad, huh, man? Can you imagine, like, the level... These, by the way, these are the kinds of people that will get in my mentions and be like, you have Trump derangement syndrome. I'm like, actually, I think it's you. I think it's you.
All right, let's go to the next one, Luke. Let's combine the two things I love the best, hot dogs in women's bodies. Luke, what do you rate this one?
It's a little bit better. A little bit better. Still weird. The ketchup covering the titties is a little bit...
How about the bun covering the buns?
They thought of everything on this one. Once again, another white trash piece of shit.
But it's like a solid 7 though on the.
Give it a 5.
All right, one more. It's a UFC related tat. Luke, can you rate this out of 1 to 10? I mean, you gotta.
Okay.
I know you hate the subject material of Hasbulla.
Subject matter negative infinity.
It's a good tat.
Tattoo, I'll give it a 6.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of Hezbollah, Luke, let's check in on Jon Jones. He's apparently still in Thailand,
Yeah,
but
for fuck's sake.
like Mike Tyson, who picked up Hasbulla like
Why
a
is he
baby
treating him like a bear cub?
and kissed him, Jon also having fun with this small man. They are friends forever, Luke.
You know what? When you finally need Hezbollah to smack somebody,
Yes.
now you don't have it in you, really?
He's not a child. He's like 23 years old.
Yeah, he's like 22 or something. Yeah, poor guy.
Okay, that's weird. Let's keep the Jon Jones stuff going. Here's UFC pulling out all stops to try to get him to sign for the Aspinall fight, Luke. They've created a trail that leads to Madison Square Garden. He just has to follow
And a
it.
police escort,
Yes,
just in case things get out of hand right behind him.
Just needs to follow it. All right. Hey, let's check in on our favorite journalist, the Warlock, Gareth A. Davis.
Hold on. Well, we ain't started
That's like a
Vapors or closers, Luke.
Okay.
No comment? No, nothing.
There's so many sex assault jokes I want to make, but I'm going to keep those to myself.
Brock Lesnar's daughter, Maya, won her 4th consecutive Mountain West championship.
Yeah.
She is an NCAA champion as well.
Shocker, she's an athlete.
And she is a tank. A very strong young woman.
You're going to
and
do the shot put here?
Dude, she looks so much like him. It's ridiculous. So that's from, I don't think that's with Sable, right? This is a daughter he had early on.
I don't know. I don't know who his significant others are. But yeah, bro, she's an athlete. I mean,
What do you think she'll go into? Because
Olympics maybe? I don't know. Is she good enough for that?
I don't know.
Is she good enough for the Olympics?
Think she go to pro wrestling or MMA, or I wonder if she wrestles too.
Good question. You know what? I mean, she's got the athletic stock to get good.
Yeah. Luke, you've heard of Super Mario. What about Super Maria? Never needed that toe head more, Luke. That toad or the feather or let's baby Jessica's in the hole, everyone.
I tell you what. Infrastructure in several parts of North and South America, not that money. Oh, they got the pull the flag down
she
music.
did live ultimately. All right, let's flatulate. It's time, Luke. Check out this China zoo and what this hippo did to the onlookers.
Hell yeah. This is what I do every time I come to the MK studio.
Oh, they should hold like a celebration for people like you and this hippo.
Absolutely spray those hoes.
Let's see if they made any signs for this celebration. Oh, there it is. Look.
That's my kind of festival,
the
brother.
far festival,
Every morning
there it
under
is.
the sheets. Trust me, my wife hates it.
Luke, Boots Ennis versus Teo could be next at welterweight, but my boy Tim Bradley, the Hall of Famer, has a disclaimer for those who think that Boots has this.
Boots Ennis better leave Teofimo Lopez alone. He better leave him alone. I'm telling y'all. Yes, leave that boy alone. He a real one. I know what all that racist rant and stuff like that. Hey, that's one thing. When I'm talking about boxing, that's what I'm talking about. And I'm here to tell y'all, he got what it takes to beat Boots Ennis. Man, the two most athletic fighters in the game. Damn, if they
where is Tim Bradley where the Foo Fighters are on blast?
I think it looked like he's at like a kid's soccer game or the county fair or something.
I was like, Tim, where are you, bud?
What do you think of that? That Teo's too athletic for Boots and would...
I don't buy that.
Yeah, he might have problems against Boots. Dude, the Haneys are pushing hard for the Teo fight right now.
Well, they need a little redemption. I mean, Devin won, but he looked like butt cheeks in that fight.
Right, let's check in on the NBA playoffs. This is a T-Wolves fan. You know, you get on the sky cam, you kiss, Luke.
Oh, he took
or you
a
just
bump.
take a bump. That's there we go. That's how we do it. Yep, that's it. Up
I
there
mean, I also would need to do coke to go to a Timberwolves game, but yes.
Wow, Ant-Man is unbelievable.
He's amazing, yes.
Just,
and I'm saying that as a Wizards fan,
Yeah.
but you know, I like to be insulting.
Luke, it's hashtag never forget. We know there's certain dates that we never forget, but check out this old school phone, by the way.
Sorry, I'm getting a call. Hey. Oh. Huh. All right. All right, I'll catch you later. Bye. They hit the second tower.
Wow, that was
all the way back then they knew.
Yeah, that was like a controlled demolition, like Building 7, Luke. Let's go to this instructional video of Faith.
Whether they're young or old, the best kind of friends are people who are friends of God.
Is this real?
Yes. Yes.
And
it was pre-event, but that is very interesting.
That one aged
commercial.
poorly.
It did. Luke, what we got a bonus rate that tat. Let's see what your 1 to 10 scale bring. Okay, this is I don't support this.
They did get the second plane there, huh?
Okay, all right. Wow. What are we doing here? Finally, Luke.
People love it when you make jokes about death. They write me telling me how much they love it when you do that.
Would you say that you are the biggest fan of Toporia's hog that is out there?
Probably his wife is number one.
I found one more. His name is DC. Watch this.
Look at that. Let me see that. Damn, boy. Look at that. Let me see that. Damn, boy.
Okay, that's the shit of the week, Luke.
DC was ready for the shaboing boing, huh?
Oh boy, what a time to be alive. Thank you for the fun and games. That's
That's
your
pretty
shit.
good. I give that one a B.
Okay, I'll take a B. I'll take a B cup if I have to. Yeah, all right. We will be.
I saw the Minecraft movie.
What'd you think?
Well, I don't know shit about Minecraft. I have to make that a disclaimer. I know nothing
One
about
of my
Minecraft.
twins loved it. The other one hated it. So let's see where we are here.
So I had to watch both movies. I had to watch the new Snow White movie because, hello, I have a 6-year-old daughter. And then I had to watch the Minecraft movie. The Minecraft movie was way better.
Jack Black?
Dude, he's pretty good in this movie.
I heard the term chicken jockey yelled in my house a lot.
There is a chicken jockey in this movie.
Yeah.
I
I was on a date night with my wife this weekend, and I saw The Accountant 2 with Ben Affleck.
How was it?
Very good. It was at one of those theaters where you order dinner and drinks, and they bring it to you, and you.
No,
so
do
I
the
was
seats
eating
recline on that one, or
They do, but like the tray isn't like close enough or big enough, so you're eating this burger in the dark, and you're spilling it all over yourself.
Was it
like a piece of
Alamo?
crack.
Was it Alamo Theater?
No, Sinopolis.
Sinopolis.
Indeed.
I'm waiting for Dune 3, brother. That's what I know.
Yeah, I'm with you on that there.
How about this? Star Wars is Dune for stupid people. That's the reality. Accept it.
I'm with you on that. George Lucas, by the way, in his
Beef.
80s now. In his
Beef.
80s. That's the show for this week. I hope you enjoyed some of it, maybe even all of it. Thank you for playing morningcombat@gmail.com to reach our show, by the way. Thank you very much. Once more, you can follow us on the social handles below, including our YouTube channels. And just a reminder that this fantastic episode of Morning Combat was brought to you by DraftKings. And with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Long Island Luke, anything else that you want to say?
No UFC this weekend. No major MMA this weekend, man. I might have to be a good boyfriend this weekend, but, you know.
Wait, what the hell are we going to do on Friday's show? Skits and Bits?
Yeah, let's just, I don't know, watch porn, react to it. I don't know.
One more thing. Put the camera on me. Put the camera on me. Anyone else? Anyone else check out this? Hey, more to come, folks. Okay, we got our shit together. More to come. All right, so get ready. That's a little too close. So get ready, okay? More to come, and it won't be me. Thank you very much. Fantastic show this week. We'll be back Friday. I have no idea what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I have no fucking idea.
And then don't forget, June 4th, Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern, right here, UFC 316 pregame preview brought to you by Cuervo. Aaron Bronstetter, that fantastic gentleman of a fella there from Canada, he'll be joining us.
Hybrid athlete.
Old school hybrid athlete. Luke, do you want to say anything? You have there's a microphone, there's a camera, there's a microphone.
No, thanks for watching the show.
Off of your chest.
No, I'm good.
All right. For LT, it's BC, and we love you folks. Thanks for watching. Take care. We are out of here.
All the smoke fighters headed to the Hall of Fame. That's right. This year's International Boxing Hall of Fame induction weekend in boxing's hometown, Canastota, New York, takes place from Thursday, June 5th through Sunday, June 8th, ending with an annual ceremony immortalizing boxing's all-time greats.
The International Boxing Hall of Fame are hosting fan events and experiences all weekend long. On Friday night, June 6th, Salida Promotion will present a terrific fight card in association with All the Smoke Fight, live on the Zone from the Turning Stone Resort Casino in Ramona, New York. Featuring USBA heavyweight champion Brandon Moore, defending his title against undefeated prospect Stanley Wright in the main event. Plus a stacked undercard featuring world champion Franchon Foods-Dezern and rising prospects JJ Pagan and DeVell Smith.
Sounds to me, we're going to have a great fight night. And of course, Sunday, the ceremony to induct the class of 2025. Legends like Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao, Michael second to none, and the Tasmanian Devil, Vinny Paz.
Join All the Smoke Fight and Salida Promotion at Turning Stone Resort Casino for this year's International Boxing Hall of Fame induction weekend.
Hey, listen, visit turningstone.com for accommodations and tickets to Friday's fight night. Visit ibhof.com for the full induction weekend schedule.